I wasn't scared for a second, actually. There was no worry of me potentially fucking having a heart attack and dying there. Probably. I don't think so. Anyway. I'll be surprised if that was the end of me. It felt like it for a few seconds. Ooh, Christmas Ogre pull? Peak? One second, let me just get this out. Alright, and then do this, then kill that guy because he's a guy from the past, which is almost always a bad sign. Hello, Brick the Streamer. Hello, Patron. Hello, my favorite streamer. What a nice thing to say. Thank you, Trash Man. Dude, just like, doesn't sound right, no? You say something so nice to me, and then I'm like, hello, garbage asshole, die, motherfucker. But it's your name. It's how you've chosen to be identified. You know, what am I can't. Self-deprecating is my specialty. I feel like it's I now have to deprecate you as well every time I say your name. But I guess it's fine. Like, I guess, like, whatever. I guess you, like, probably deserve it or some shit. I don't know. Don't ask me, man. Actually, hold up. I have a better idea. Allows me to give more love to streamers. So true. Wait. I got one. This shit is actually kind of... This shit's actually kind of goated. Hold on. Kind of a fan. All right. What in the world? Hello, Difo. I literally just got fucking started. Great timing. What's up? Welcome, Raiders. Zan, she's 12? So true. Right, I just got off work. You can't be hitting me with the fucking 572 person raid. Hello there. I guess we'll fucking get started then. I guess we'll get started. So you review the Arc World Tour leaderboards. Make sure you include that I'm top 50 on the leaderboard despite playing this game for like 20 hours last year. Well, how many Arc World Tour points do you have, Dad? Are you calculating your Arc World Tour points? I mean, I have a big fat goose egg, unfortunately. I don't think Kirbio's Dreamland. I don't think they put that in the tour there. But that being said, Frosty's obviously is coming up in just a few days here, and generally the finals are also like what, a couple months, something like that. Arc World Tour 2025 for Granblue. It's 45 or maybe 20. Oh, okay. Yeah, you like won a gold event or came third at a gold plus or some shit. Yeah. I mean, that's not. Listen, I feel like that's not bad to be top 50. Doesn't Difo stream Tuco now? Yeah, Difo doesn't play this game anymore. The Zoe buffs weren't enough for him. He's gone forever, I fear. We'll never get him back. That's okay though. But yeah, so if you are unfamiliar, the way the Arc World Tour works, 16-man bracket, right? You get 8 spots from these platinum events, basically, which are auto. If you win, you just like auto qualify. You also get a shit ton of points, and then actually no, I think there might only be like 7. Yeah, I think there's only 7 platinum. No, there's 8 platinum qualifier spots. Yeah, 7 people get in through points, and then it's the LCQ. Yeah, the LCQ is the 8th platinum. That makes sense.
Very good on this person.
What's going on, Gotcha? Thanks for the 13 months. But yeah, you have 8 spots that come in through the platinum events and the LCQ, and then you have 8 spots that come through points. Right, the people with the 8 people with the most points, and the 8 people who just win the platinums and the LCQ. They all go to a 16-man bracket where they play for $100,000 prize pool, $50K for first place, which, you know, is maybe a slightly more sane split of the prize pool than some other fighting games have. But, you know, we're not rocking these $2 million EWC prize pools, I fear. Who are these people? But yeah, so just quick rundown on the format right there, right? You have platinum plus. If you win this, you auto qualify. Gold plus, gold, silver. You don't auto qualify for these, but basically as it goes down, you get more points. And generally, it's just basically, you know, the ones with the higher competition, you get rewarded more for placing second or first or whatever, right? So with that being said, I wanted to do 2 things here. Essentially, I wanted to just, one, look at everything that's happened, look at what the leaderboard looks like. Most things at this point, you know, are kind of locked in stone as far as who's in, who's not. There's still, obviously, we have the one Platinum event still. Frosty is happening, so anyone who wins that is auto-qualifying. There's also a lot of points up for grabs, so some things could shift. But by and large, you're not going to really, like, you know, if you're Diaphone with 45 Arc World Tour points, you're kind of cooked at this point, yeah? So I wanted to just go over that, but also, something I was genuinely interested about, because I don't know this, is I made a little video about, like a week or two ago, just going over how diverse the top 8 was for Cygames Cup, right? Not only did you have 8 entirely different characters represented in the top 8, you also had basically kind of like 5 or 6 different archetypes. You had like 2 zoners, a big body, a rushdown character, a like defensive Shoto, like a set play fuckery with Kag. Kag could be fucking anything she wants to be, right? But, so I want to see if that holds over the entirety of the tour. My guess is that it will. We shall see, though. The very accurate science we're going to do here is I'm basically just going to have a little notepad that we update as we go here. We're going to look at the top 8s for all of the Platinums, all of the Gold Pluses, and then some of the Golds. Not all of the Golds. You know, some of the Golds were bigger than others, kind of indicated both by the prize pool and just the general level of competition that was there. So all of the ones that we have open here, we'll keep a running tally, and we'll see. Is Lowain going to show up in like 16 of these? Maybe. I know Outplayed, spoiler alert for later, Outplayed was like 3 Lowains and 3 Materas or something. That, I think, is the worst top 8 we had all year. But we'll see. So hey, let's just get right into it. So obviously, a day after the tour basically started in Evo Japan. Kazuo Asagi won that on Ferry, right? The top 8, if you are curious, right? You know, irrespective of placements for a second. This was 1 Lancelot. Oh, Peanut. Thanks very much for the $2. Much appreciated.
Very woe.
We had Lancelot, Percival. This might be, I feel like Lancelot does not show up here very often, right? Toro on Percival for the Dark Days where he switched to Lowain, apparently. Debagame, apparently. I've been told this is Debagame, which I think is a bit of a psyop, but sure. On Vasaraga. So hints for later. Arioki here also on Vasaraga. 2 Vasas in the first top 8. Hinoki no Bo was playing, I think, primarily Sandalphon here. Shio on Lowain. Zangief Dream on Cagliostro. Get used to this name. You're going to see this a lot. And Kazuo Usagi, of course, winning the whole thing on Ferry. So, to start off, Ferry has a win. Congratulations, Ferry. I can't remember if this is Ferry's only major win. It might not. Again, major, I'm counting all Platinums, Platinum Pluses, all Gold Pluses, and like some of the bigger golds, right? It's a bit of a generous interpretation of it, and obviously, you know, disclaimer, a lot of nuance, not Zangief's Dream, Kag, a lot of nuance can get stuck in just looking at top 8s, top 16, top 24. There's obviously sometimes gonna be a lot of interesting data there, but we're going over like fucking 15 brackets, okay? So we're not gonna go with quite such a fine-tooth comb. Lowain shows up here once. Sandalphon, I'm not going to count this for Narmaya because I do think they were playing mostly Sandalphon, if I recall. Sandalphon shows up here once. Vasaraga already with 2 right away. Percy is not going to be. If you're wondering, hey, is Percy showing up in a lot of these? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure the only times he ever does is Toro, and Toro don't even play that motherfucker anymore. So it's a zoner meta, man. It's rough for Percy. And then not Kosame, Lance will show up once as well. So 2 Vasas in top 8. I mean, so far, again, we have only one duplicate here. And, I mean, you know, I feel like this is relatively, it's here where I go to do JF Glaze. I think JF glazes, well, I think JF glazes himself more than enough, but, you know, still pretty diverse, right? Again, not just in terms of the play, like the actual characters, but also the archetypes, right? Zoner, whatever the fuck Cagliostro is, whatever the fuck Lowain is, like almost the same guy, maybe. Shoto, big body, Shoto, and a rushdown character. It's not so bad. Or like 4 or 5 different archetypes represented.
Generosity is the only thing that separates.
God damn, gotcha. Thank you very much for the 10 gifted. Diaphone stopped streaming. I got a bit confused. You're like, why did this Diaphone guy get so much more handsome and articulate? When did that happen? Is Toro the only sponsored player? Is that crazy? Is Toro, no, there's no way Toro's the only fucking sponsored player here. They must just not have the icon for everyone else. But sure, yeah. So that was Evo Japan, a gift for being gone so long, King. Man, thank you very much. Incredibly generous of you. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. But yeah, so that gets Kazuo Asagi, obviously auto-qualified, right? So there's immediately one of your 16 spots. Kazuo Asagi on Ferry got Ferry nerfed, and it maybe didn't matter, honestly. Moving right along, Brussels, you know, S1 won this. Cool, awesome. But again, this is one of those golds that is a little smaller. We're just going to go right straight up to Combo Breaker here. Combo Breaker Obviously, if you recall this was a Zerom W, right? This is more, North America, I mean, almost entirely, it's all North American top 8, right? Not a lot of international travel going on here. But, again, Vasaraga. Twitch Summon, I can redeem points for no jumping next set. We'll be jumping while looking at those results. I won't, probably. But if you want to make sure that I don't, you can spend some channel points, certainly. I think I got 7th here. Yo, what the hell? Shout out to the, I didn't even realize, I forgot about this. Shout out to the GOAT. But yeah, Voss again. Kazan Kai on Beelzebub, Insurgent on Eustace, Rialzo. I guess only played Seox here. He plays Anila occasionally, but Seox primarily, I think. Elsa, Kag / Versuja, probably relatively equally, right? Monarch on Matera, of course. Zane, rocking the Grimnir, and Charlotta on the Charlotta on, or Zerom on Charlotta. That man is so fucking synonymous with the character. I get him backwards sometimes. What we really need for the stream is a Gamba? Sure. You know what? Why not? What do you want to bet on? Which character is going to have the most wins? The most top 8 appearances? Wins, I feel like is kind of, you can kind of remember most of the wins off the top of your head if you've been paying enough attention. Which character shows up in top 8s the most? Will it kill? I wonder what the good candidates would be for that though. You know what? I feel like because there's like again, in my opinion, the game's relatively balanced. There's like 15 good options or something. So I don't think it'll make a too good of a Gamba, right? I mean, so far, again, that is another dub. Well, it's a dub for Charlotta, and so Vasaraga is very much in the lead right now, right? Charlotta with the 1 win. I like Sheep. It's true. Voss now with 3 appearances. I wonder, is Voss like really consistently in top 8s? I feel like I remember in the early part of the year, Vasaraga was showing up a hell of a lot, right? Vasaraga with 3 appearances, right? Charlotta pops in here. Charlotta gets her first one. Grimnir will also get his first one, but certainly not his last. Matera Matera gets her first one, and I promise you, this will not be her last either. Cagliostro will show up here. I think I'm just gonna use whoever went first here, just because if someone has like 5 characters here, I don't think I want to count it too much. I'm just gonna count Elsa as a Cagliostro for these purposes. I know Elsa primarily as a Cag these days anyway, though I'm sure they do rock the Versuja as a relatively, like, they do actually pull the secondary out, right? Seox shows up here for the first time as well. I'm doing my best to keep this in somewhat alphabetical order, but my ass is not very smart, so you might have to forgive me, right? Let's get some fucking spacing going here. Thoughts? Make this look a little nicer, a little bit more human readable. I remember when Elsa played Galleon for 1 minute. Elsa was on, like, I'm higher on Galleon than most people. Not that high, but higher on Galleon than most people. Elsa was on that, like, Galleon is, like, top 5 train for a while, which I never really understood personally, but I don't know if she's still on that. All right. Who else am I missing? We counted Charlotta, we counted Grim, we counted Matera, we counted Cag, Seox, Eustace. Eustace will get his first top 8 appearance here as well. Eustace with 1. And then Beelzebub, right? Kazan Kai on the Bubs with 1 here as well. BSG for best dressed, real and true. Okay. I mean, still, Vasaraga being kind of a little bit of a standout, and maybe Gag as well. But relatively spaced out. Only 2 brackets, though, so nothing really to talk about just yet. Of course, this is a Platinum event, which, again, this means your second spot here was taken up by Zerom. Battle Arena Melbourne is a Gold Plus, so we're going to Fairy not listed. Oh, did I not? I might be dumb. I put her in the wins, but not in the appearances. Real and true, bestie. Yeah, I'm gonna need you guys to fact check my ass. I put good attention to detail on my resume, and it's a lie every time. There you go. Thank you. I'm glad there's no links on this notepad. Yeah. All right, Battle Arena Melbourne was a Gold Plus, so we will count this as well. Hey, there's where he got his Arc World Tour points. That Dyphone was talking about. He got 45 points earlier. He got 3rd place here. Real and true. Oh boy. All right, starting to see something. So a mild pattern. First off, Beatrix wins this. So, you know, shout out to Gamera. I am going to weight these heavily, or I'm going to weight these equally. You might be like, why is this Gold Plus event weighted the same as Evo Japan? Kill yourself. It's my list, okay? We're just doing it in whatever way makes the most sense to me statistically, right? So Beatrix gets a win. Also, I lied. Fuck the spacing. There's going to be too many characters. The game's too well balanced, I fear. Fuck this. We don't get to use this. It'll just simply go off screen too fast. I can make it taller, but we'll still run out of space way too quickly. All right, so Beatrix gets a win. 2 Luanes. Surely there's not more, right? Yeah. So we have 2 Luanes in this bracket, so that jumps him up to 3 right away, right? Luane already tying Vasaraga there. Our first Narmaya Again, I'm not really counting Hinobu there. So wait, what? LMNOP. Oh, G is also. G should definitely be here. Listen, this guy doesn't know his alphabet. All right, so Narmaya shows up for the first time, right? One Narmaya right there. Samlafon, again. Actually, they told me this character wasn't even good. Loane, again, a second fairy, right? More ferrying. 2B, I actually don't know. I feel like 2B, if you're rocking in like the NA weeklies and you're fighting Yoru every week, then 2B is like winning all of these. But I feel like she doesn't show up that much in the Arc World Tour events. Maybe I'll be wrong. Lucilius, I know for a fact, will not show up that much. But oh well, we'll still put him in here just for you know, some moral support. And Beatrix gets her first appearance as well. My streamer keeps his notepad clean. I keep that motherfucking thing on me, man. All right, so moving right ahead, right again. I think did I put Head Stomper in here? I don't think I put Head Stomper in here. But we do have CEO, right? CEO, which was won by Zane on the Grimnir. Right? Behold the god of fund work. Indeed. BSG shows up again. Beepaw, do I count Beepaw as a? I think I've got. To me, Beepaw's a fairy. Okay. To me, Beepaw's a fairy, so I'm gonna count Beepaw as a fairy and not a fairy and a Matera. I mean, part of this, you'll notice, like, Ryazo's here again, right? BSG's here again. Zane's here again. Like, certainly, part of this is just players who represent, like, good players who rep a character. That character's gonna show up in a lot of top 8s, okay? That's just how it is. And maybe that, you know, if the character wasn't as good, maybe they wouldn't be repping them. All right, so let's see. That gives us a win for Grimnir. Maybe he's last? I feel like I don't see Grim winning too many of these, but Zane also did have a bit of a second place curse for quite a while, right? Another Voss appearance. Vossaraga taking the lead squarely back from Loane. Fairy is carried by her mains. She needs a buff, clearly. Yes, no, real and true. We get another Vossaraga appearance. We get another Grim appearance, obviously. 2 Grims. Another Fairy. I mean, Fairy is very consistent, right? Fairy consistent on Mrs. Fairy right there. Buff 214, trust me. Zeta. I mean, I guess, you know, that's what happened. It's you know, sure, Zeta. Why not, man? I feel like we are not going to see very much of her at all. Also, this is definitely Percy and Lance down here is definitely not very alphabetical, okay? But I'm a stupid guy. You might have to forgive me. You might have to forgive me for being a stupid guy. LMNOP. Damn, I'm good at this. Holy shit. The streamer knows his alphabet. Okay, Zeta shows up once here. Catalina shows up once here as well. ABCDEFG HIJK L. Ooh, it comes before L. Gotcha. Catalina shows up once here. Matera again. This will not be the last you see of her. And then Seox again. I mean, both times have been Ryazo, right? Both times have been Ryazo, so you can maybe make an argument that, like, but it's fine. I mean, both Grimnirs have been Zane, and half the Vossaragas have been BSG. Okay, it's just gonna be how that shit's gonna be. Moving on. Right, only the best. This is actually a gold event, but it seemed to me like the prize pool's a little bigger. There's a few more people showing up, and we wanna get some European representation in here as well. Look at this, Luca, friend of the channel, Luca, making top 8, making top 4, in fact, with Nier. What a guy. This is the first win for Soares. I believe not the last, just because skill, I think, wins another one of these, right? But Soares gets a win. I mean, so far, 5 different tournaments, 5 different champions. Okay. Maybe we have a little bit of repetition in some of the top 8. Not too bad, I don't think, right? Maybe a little bit of repetition, but 5 different tournaments, 5 different champions, right? We take that, certainly. Sup, you sexy Canadian fellow. Hello, Mello. All right, so that gives us our first Soares appearance as well. We got one Soares. We got Saki. I feel like I have seen Saki actually play these two interchangeably enough that I feel like I do kind of want to count it. Like, he shows up as a Catalina or a Charlotta, just like basically multiple times per bracket. It'll be one or the other, right? So I think I am actually going to count this as 2, okay? I'm going to break my own rules when I see fit, when it feels right to me. If you have a problem with it, you can end your own life at your earliest convenience. That's for Loane, right? Loane is tied for first with Vossaraga right now. Nier shows up for the first, and maybe last time. The Charlotta is usually only against skill. I feel like I definitely saw him, was it at Mindset? I saw him play Charlotta against people who weren't skill, I think. But I see what you mean. Missed Char on Vera on the bracket before. Oh, holy sh! I got a goat filter on my eyes. That's my bad. What the hell? Good job, Char. Thank you. Again, I need you guys to keep me honest. Vera shows up with 1 right there. What's up? Yeah, that's fine. Just get 2 of them. All right. Vera has her first appearance as well. Pog. All right. Wait. Don't let me be smart here. Lock the fuck in. Don't miss anything. We counted skill. We counted Saki twice. We counted Pixie for the Lowain. We counted Luca for the Nier. We have to count another Narmaya for default. We have to count another Lowain. Wait a second. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, maybe a pattern is appearing. Okay, but he hasn't won anything yet. Thoughts? Lowain has not actually won anything yet, so he can't be that good. You are probably just making that shit up. Also, unrelated, gaslighting is not a real word, and you sound crazy. Alright, so, Lowain, there's 5 of him now. It's a little scary. Another Sandalphon. Sandy is honestly showing up more consistently than I expect. This fit doesn't count for both. I feel like these days I see him playing the Beatrix more often. I'll count him for, you know what, you can't stop me. I'll count him for both. I feel like I still see Fitizen rocking, especially back here, rocking the Siegfried more often, right? So we'll get our first Sieg appearance as well. He mainly played B? Okay. You know what? Fine. People have been watching your video describing him as Batman, Sandalphon. He's the wizard from Pathfinder 2E, man. Fine. Okay. Fine. Lowain isn't good. You're just bad. Fair enough. A lot of people are bad, apparently, at these Arc World Tour events. Lowain, squarely, has sole possession of first right now. But again, no wins, which means that he's probably balanced and needs a buff, will be my guess, right? Obviously, next up, Evo, right? You probably watched this. Koji won this on Beatrix. So, this actually, this gives us our first 2-time winner here in Beatrix. Beatrix has now won her, I'm going to organize wins. I'm going to organize this by who has the most, I guess, just because it looks cooler that way, right? Beatrix now gets her second win. And I mean, I think, was it? She won... Okay, I don't know. I was going to say, she didn't win, like, both of the Platinum events, did she? No. But she did win a Platinum Plus and a Gold Plus, right? So still, big events that Beatrix is bringing home. Lots of competition, things like this. Exclamation mark song. That is a great command. I should add that shit. I could just link you to it if you would be so inclined. This shit, the Dokkan Battle OST, man, this shit is elite. That's that shit right there. Highly recommended. There you go, brother. All right, let's keep going. Okay, with that sorted, so Beatrix gets her second win. She also gets another top 8 appearance, putting her at 3. I say Grimnir gets another top... Again, it is Zane again, right? Like, so far, 3 Grimnir appearances, 3 Zane appearances. It's Zane. Toro, I feel like actually played both of these characters. If anything, he played a little bit more Siegfried, I think, than Percy, if I recall. But like, bro, if we don't count Toro for Percy, we're never gonna count anything for Percy. Okay, so I'm gonna take some pity on Percy and count him there. Fukunaga, I believe, was also playing... Well, I think, no, at EVO, I remember him playing mostly Versuja. I think at EVO, I remember him playing mostly Versuja. So I'm going to just put Versuja in here at 1 copy there for Fukunaga. Another Grimnir, not Zane, right? Zenith in there as well. Monarch here for Matera once again. Riazo on Seox. He played a Catalina game here, did he? Are you sure? I'll take your word for it, but I still remember primarily Seox out of that boy. And then Vermilion... Verlaine really, he got 6th place at the EVO last year and 8th place at the EVO this year. Huh? Very consistent. Second 2B appearance. How's it looking so far? We have 1 2-time winner. Listen, 6 different big tournaments, 5 different champions. That's still pretty good. That's a pretty good ratio, right? And then we have, I mean, there's not that. There's a couple of standouts, right? Lowain, especially, to me so far, Lowain is the one where there's been a lot of different Lowains. Like, it hasn't just been, Zane 3 times and then Zenith once or something like that. Or like Monarch 3. Well, no, it was Monarch twice and then something else. Lowain is still the big standout to me in terms of top 8 appearances so far. The early leader, right? Versus Fighting. Versus Fighting was, I believe, was it a gold or a gold plus? Let me double check that shit again real quick. Versus Fighting was a gold plus. Yeah, Versus Fighting was a gold plus for the UK. The fact that the list is most of the cast. My thesis is that we're going to end up and we're going to be like, wow, look at that. What a balanced, amazing game, right? But the Lowain is starting to scare me because I also, I have my future sight of having existed in this year. Lowain is in a lot of the later top 8s too, and he actually wins a few of them. I would not, if you had asked me at the beginning of this, if Lowain was going to be the dominant character, I guess I wouldn't be too surprised, but I just didn't think that many people played him, I guess, right? Anyways, Beatrix wins another. Now, to be fair, Space, I believe, if I remember correctly, in Grand Finals here, I believe he was playing Cagliostro. I think. But he played both, right? He played both of these characters. Like, he was swapping out He played CAG for maybe just skill, if I remember correctly. I think he played CAG to kill skill. Does anyone? I feel like I want to count this both ways. Like, he utilized both of these characters to win. Do I really want to give 2 different wins though? No. I think for the appearances, sure. For the wins, we're only going to count the character that was most used by that player to win the tournament, and in this case, that was Beatrix, right? So here's another thing, right? Obviously, a lot of people talk about Beatrix being the best character in the game potentially. She is so far not only the only character with 2 major wins, she's also the only one with 3, right? Like, she is building a bit of a lead here on the rest of the pack. Also coming in at 4 top 8 appearances. She's showed up 4 times and won 3 of them. See, that's an interesting ratio to see too, right? Like, Lowain has been here 5 times, but he hasn't won one yet. Beatrix has been here 4 times and won 3. That is 75% win rate in top 8. Small sample size. We'll keep going, but that is certainly something to note, right? Another skill appearance means another Sora's appearance. Saki playing again. I think both characters here. I think I will continue to count Saki for both of these characters, just because I do see him switch relatively often. Fitizen playing mostly B again, I think. Okay, Beatrix is now starting to just take shit over, right? She now is tied with Lowain for first, and he's not going to break that tie here. And she also has the most wins by a landslide. It makes sense, right? Just strong, straightforward, like, good tournament character. It's not necessarily that this would be, if you asked me at the beginning of this who I thought would be the top of this, I probably would have said Beatrix, not Lowain. So this would be more aligned with what I was thinking. Poor balanced ass Belial gets his first top 8 appearance here. Buff this guy immediately. He's worse than Sandalphon. This is Sandalphon's 4th top 8. He's getting lapped by Sandalphon, man. And then, of course, fair and balanced, hardworking Willness. Unsurprising to see that it took him this long to show up in the top 8 for the first time. This character needs several buffs, probably. He's just a little guy. Dudikoff. I feel like I think of Dudikoff. I think of Matera. To see Seahawks next to him here is actually a little... Maybe I just don't know ball. Maybe I just don't know ball like that. But I feel like I see Dudikoff. I think Matera. So I'm just going to count him for Matera. Twitter told me Sandy was unplayable. This can't be. I know Europe are very, very big fans of Sandalphon. And maybe Japan as well. Make DP plus Belial? His MDP is already plus, man. All right, did I miss anyone? I counted space for Beatrix. I don't think I counted him for CAG. We will count him as an appearance for CAG. I counted skill for Sora's. Yeah. Okay, I think we're good. We can move on. All right. UFA, right? UFA was, I believe, a platinum event? I should say. Yeah, platinum, yes. So this was, again, free qualification. Oh, boy. Right, now I remember. This was the one where Space used CAG in Grands, I believe, to win it. All right. Good news, bad news. Good news, bad news is they put Cagliostro on the left side of the image here. So we don't have to put Beatrix to 4 and have her be the only character with more than 1 win and be the only character with 2 wins and 3 wins and 4 wins, okay? Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to do this. Because I'm pretty sure that I remember Space playing Beatrix pretty heavily here, okay? But the win goes to Cagliostro, who manages to pull out her first actual major win here in a platinum event, no less. Skill, he played Willness for 1 game and died instantly. I remember this. I'm not going to count this as an appearance for Willness at all. But again, skill being here, another skill tournament means another Sora's appearance, right? Fitizen, again, we are going to mark off as Beatrix. S1 apparently played 3 different characters here. Holy bias. I'm just saying, you know what, fine. I said we're going to put the character on the left side, right? Oh, you talking about Willness? No, that's not bias. I watched this. Skill was down like 2-0 in the grand finals reset, and he just picked Willness and got immediately mogged. You know what I mean? I don't think so. I don't think so. This is not biased for what Willness is fair and balanced. Okay, watch your mouth. Counts as an appearance for B, right? Holy bias, fairy woe. There we go. That's good. Counts an appearance for B. I'll count this for Percy too. Actually, I'm not as familiar with S1, but they put Percy on the left. S1 probably only played C against Matera. That makes sense. Percy Matera is a fucking laughably bad matchup, right? Poulet Robot on Grimnir, Mr. Robot Chicken. 5 Grimnirs. He's showing up. I mean, certainly you're seeing some characters kind of rise to the top in terms of appearances. A lot of one-offs, right? I mean, is the biggest surprise here so far Sandalphon? Some people, maybe. I think Sandalphon is real good, though, right? The Percy and Vayne are real, though. Okay. Bro, I'm down to get Vayne on here. I love Vayne. Vayne. Actually, I guess he goes alphabetically before Vasaraga, doesn't he? Vayne with his first appearance as well. We'll count Toro for Percy as well. So that's 4. Catalina. Saki playing only Catalina here, apparently. And Luane shows up to tie Beatrix for first once more. But again, maybe this Luane character is no good, man. Right? Luane shows up in 6 brackets, wins none of them. Maybe he needs buffs. He's been on the bottom half of these too, right? He's been like 8th, 7th, 6th, etc. This poor Luane character, man. He's working so hard. He can't find, and it's a bunch of different Luanes. They just can't find it. Moving on. We go to Evo France, right? Which, again, we're starting to get more recent here. Hopefully, this is starting to jog your memory a little bit before the entire world fucking exploded and they started shooting people in the street. But Usagi won this on Grimnir, right? I forgot, actually. Yeah, Grimnir does get a second major win, right? Evo here. So Grimnir now, the only character besides Beatrix to have won more than a single tournament, right? Pixie, back at it again with the white Vans. Right, Luane shows up again. Grimnir shows up again. They nerfed this Grimnir character, but it might not matter. Galleon showed up in no top 8s. Can she get buffs? It's true. EX command grab should instantly kill the opponent, I think. Luane still in first here, right? Well, Beatrix is gonna tie him up literally right now. Again, I will count space as an appearance at least for both Beatrix and Cagliostro. Gamera played. Oh, I remember. Gamera played. He played Anila into Luane, right? Did he not? Yeah. He played Anila into Luane and got just mogged. He was not... This was like... I think this was the beginning of the end for Japan starting to pick more Luane, by the way. Because I think so far, almost, except for just Chio once, I think, none of our Luanes have been Japanese. Yeah? It felt like Japan took a little bit to figure out what was happening with Luane. As you'll see later, obviously, spoiler alert, Toro's on Luane now. There's like 3 Luanes in fucking every top 8. But it took him a second. It took him a second to figure it out. I think this was like the window breaking, like the anime fisheye lens zoom in as the anime character loses their mind moment for Japan, where they just watched Gamera get his fucking shit rocked by, like, this was not a close set at all, if I remember correctly, was Gamera versus Pixie here. He just kind of didn't, he looked like he just didn't know what to do in the matchup, and I think he maybe didn't, right? Broke most of the JP player base after that. Yep. All right. Luane shows up again. I counted space already. I'll count Gamera. Do I count him for Anila and Cag? I think I'm just gonna count him for Beatrix, honestly. I think I don't know what the fuck was going on with the Anila. I think he also played Cag for 1 game, so we're gonna count it as another Beatrix appearance here. Another skill showing means another sword is showing, right? And then yes, Chio being our only Japanese Luane so far. That'll bring us up to 8 Luanes. Rekimundo, I remember this guy was... this guy's energy, by the way, was ridiculous. It was so good. This guy was such a fucking vibe, right? On the Vasaraga, or the Vas there. Not first 2 shot. Vasaraga. 5. And then another Eustace, right? Our second Eustace here from Miri. Okay. Starting to get slightly... He does 6-7 shouts. Yeah. I won my first match against Luane this week. I have 1,000 hours in the game. Yep. It's starting to get a little top heavy, right? Again, you see it like, while there is still, I mean, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 6, 7. Streamer counts, he learns. This is 27 out of 40 characters represented across, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 top 8s, right? So we have 9 top 8s and something like 70% of the roster is represented. That is quite good, but it certainly is not equal, right? There's a lot of 1s here. There's a lot of 1s, and then you have like 8 Beatri, right? 8 Luanes, 6 Grimnirs, and it's actually not all Zane, actually. A few more showed up, right? 5 Vasaragas, lots of 4s, things like this. So certainly you still see a preference for particular characters, as you'd expect, but I don't look at this and get sad so far. I look at this and I still think, and I mean, again, as far as winners, I'm gonna listen. He won it with Cag. Okay, he was playing Cag in the Grands. We're gonna call it 3 wins for Beatrix. You know, a couple outliers, but nothing too bad yet. Nothing too bad yet, right? Now, this super tournament here, right? This is a gold plus event that I believe happened in Seoul, in Korea, right? Another win for Cagliostro. Another win for Cagliostro. She also joins the multi-time champion club. She got her 2nd ring. Gamero's playing All Meg here. And I mean, I don't know if I know a lot of people are not very strong believers in Meg right now. I thought that what pops in my head when I read 27 is Melty. CROA plus frames go wild. Interesting. Near 236M is like plus 83 on block. I remember the days when that was a good, well, it's still a good move, but when that was a good character. I know a lot of people are not really heavy believers in Meg. I mean, some people think she's fucking ass. A lot of people think she's fucking ass. I still feel like, I don't know. Gamera showed me some shit on this character in this tournament. I don't think, maybe she's not quite as good as people thought when she first came out. But I can't look at this character and go, I think she's ass, I think. There's some interesting little setups, roll punishes, guaranteed Oki stuff that Meg was doing here with Gamera at the helm that I found quite interesting. You strong IMO, but not like top 10 stuff? Yeah, you probably overestimated a little bit on release, and like a lot if your name was it Vermilion who was going, she was top 1 like the day she came out, maybe. He was kind of right about Versuja, but I think he might have missed a little on Meg. Anyway, Kat gets her second win. She also gets her 5th appearance. She's not ass. I just think she's not top 5. Yeah, a lot of people think she's straight dog shit though. Like people think that character is garbage, is my understanding. Meg gets her first top 8 appearance. Luane almost at double digits. He won't get it quite yet in this bracket, right? Framework rocking the Catalina, bringing her up to 5. Again, very consistent. I think Catalina is a very strong, consistent tournament character, right? Her main problem, the main problem versus like her versus Beatrix or something like that, is that, well, I mean, do you see who else shows up at a lot of these top 8s, right? 9 appearances. I mean, Fairy 3, but she won one of them. She's still quite meta relevant, right? Matera 4. These characters tend to give Catalina a lot more trouble than they give Beatrix, essentially. And as we will see moving forward, they are very, very meta relevant. Anyways, though, Catalina with her 5th appearance. Another Voss, well, karaoke again, but another Vossaraga appearance for 6. Voss really showing up consistently, right? Kosabe, again, giving Lance, the only 2 Lance appearances so far. Very, very far apart, but they've both been Kosane. Osaka-san was playing Bubs this whole time? That's interesting. I know he plays Bubs and Uno primarily, but I guess he was only playing Bubs here, so no shade. We gotta ignore. Uno has yet to have a top 8 appearance. I imagine that Meg is similar to Wilness, where she seems bonkers and people started to understand how to play against her. I think Wilness is still considered to be really good by most people. I think it's a little different, right? I think Wilness seems bonkers when he comes out, and you're like, this character is actually. But, oh, wait, no. Wilness is fair and balanced, and please buff him Psy Games. He needs it desperately, okay? Uno bad, trash character, please buff. Yes. And Sandalphon, again, right? I mean, Toro on Sandalphon here. 5 appearances for Sandalphon. Very consistent character. Very consistent character. Moving right along, Battle Coliseum, right? Obviously, this was won by JF, just as basically any event that you hold in South America is going to be won by JF, to my understanding. No jumping next set. I will do my best to not jump while we're doing this. Thank you very much, Echo. JF basically just wins everything down here, is my understanding. He is the fucking boogeyman under every South American man's blanket. So, that means Vossaraga gets his first win. Voss gets his first win down here. Let me put Grim above Soares and Kag above Soares as well. We're just kind of sorting the wins column. We're sorting by wins, right? Not alphabetically. All right, so JF gets his first win. He also nabs Vossaraga another top 8 appearance. Again, Voss now 7. I think he's 3rd, right? It's only Beatrix and Luane that haven't beat Voss. I mean, maybe if you weren't paying too much attention, you might have thought that this Voss guy wasn't that big of a deal. But no, he's showing up consistently, right? There's like 3 or 4 of them, too. It's not just like one guy wrecking house. Siegfried gets his 2nd appearance with Ami right there. Poor balanced Belial gets his 2nd appearance. Granathan Fantasy versus Rising shows up for the very first time. We'll take that. That's 1 Gran right there. Gran gets. Beatrix. Who will break double digits first? Beatrix or Luane? I don't know. Whoever shows up higher in the next bracket that they both show up in. Beatrix with 9 top 8 appearances as well. I mean, so far still absolutely the best performing character of the year, right? Tied for the most top 8 appearances and holds the crown alone for wins. And you could even argue that this is 4 because Space won utilizing her as well, right? Anyways, Shiro gives Kag her 6th top 8 appearance. Full Moon, very strong player. 2nd appearance of Vayne. And Wilness breaks into the multi-appearance as well. Is Voss's presence the reason why we're seeing Sandy Fire Ecliptica works against armor? I think the reason we're seeing Sandy is he's just a strong, consistent character, right? And he actually has a little bit more in his kit. He's not like on anti-zoner by any means, but he has a little bit more in his kit to deal with zoning nonsense compared to some of the other Shotos who just die into it straight up like Percy or something, right? That'll be my guess. Sandy's just good. I don't think he needs to be a tech pick necessarily. He's better into Matera, yeah. B Pro Cup here. This is where things start to get dark, right? This is where things start. I do remember this. Shio won this, if I remember correctly, relatively. Zangief's Dream gave him trouble, right? But he won this relatively convincingly from where I was sitting, right? This is Loane finally. Not only will he be our first to break double digits, right? Loane, this is the 10th top 8 appearance in a major bracket for Loane right here, but he will also take his first W home here as well. Loane has now won a Arc World Tour event. Another Grand appearance. Broken ass Granule. You know, most people are still stuck at 1 who showed up here, so Gran getting 2 in a row like that is quite nice. Zangief Dream putting Kag up to 7. Osaka Cell's playing, He's playing Belial? Excuse me? Okay, sure. I feel like I forgot about that part, man. Maybe this must have been some part we were talking about some fucking woke shit or like frauding our dicks together or something like that. I always get distracted in these tournament runs. I actually do not remember that Osaka-san was playing Belial here, but sure. Gamera was still a Meg believer. I think he might still be a Meg believer. Sure. Toro, once again, this was before he gave up Percy and went to the dark side, so we'll count another Percy appearance right here. Boomer was on EX Narmaya. TOD word combo, yeah. Are we sure? This was EX Narmaya? She's not gonna get, I mean, that might be the only time she ever shows up, so I gotta give her flowers if it's true. Right? We'll put her next, even though it starts with EX, we'll put her next to EX, regular Narmaya, just so. EX Narmaya. I'm 100% sure. Okay. EX, I thought I was gonna count it for regular Narm. EX Narmaya, amazing. And then Soares gets his first non-skill appearance. Amazing. Soares gets his first, I'm sorry, I don't know what that says. But shout out to this guy. We always love seeing some Soares putting in work. That character is very fun to both play and watch, right? All right, we're moving right along here. Mindset, another fairy dub. Ladiva, let's go. Okay, another fairy dub right here gets her, I believe, second win. Yeah. So again, I mean, fairy's ratio has been pretty crazy, right? This is now 4 top 8s that fairy shows up in, and 2 of them that she wins, right? Skill. Another, this is, you know, almost all of the Soares appearances except for 1 have been skill so far, but hey, he still shows up 6 times. Just because skill is hella consistent, that's not no one's fault, okay? Ladiva, my girl, gets her first appearance as well. Ladiva shows up here for the first time. Versuja will count up here. This is only Versuja's second appearance, really. Zoe, Broken Ass Zoe. This is after the Zoe buffs? This was after the Zoe buffs, wasn't it? Broken Ass Zoe shows up. Matera gets her 5th appearance. A little less than you might expect, right? Calling on the Narmaya right there. And Arufu, Sandalphon, 6, right? Sandalphon keeping up with, not quite with like Beatrix and Luane and shit, but he's right up there with like Vasaraga and Cagliostro. This character, you can't get away from him, man. He hasn't won anything yet, but he is showing up at least. He's represented here relatively consistently. This was a gold event. This was big enough that I wanted to include it, honestly. Lagless Cup right here, another gold that was actually, I mean, this has a bigger prize pool than like most of the gold. Like, I don't know what was going on in Japan here, but like the prize pool for this was bigger than like basically, so I think it was this shit bigger than like Evo France or some shit. It might be 9,000 USD here. So I'm like, I gotta include this in the list. You think I'm not gonna? You think a $9,000, 1.4 million yen, that's not gonna attract some good talent? I think it will. And unfortunately, though, I do immediately regret this decision because guess what? Loane wins again. Loane went from having no wins to 2 wins. Almost back-to-back here. Shio is doing work. Shio's doing work. Right? Shop sponsored by Lagless. Oh, Shio sponsored by Lagless. Yeah. Listen, he shows up, he wins again. All right, cool. Loane now is creeping up on Beatrix, and he's beating her in top 8 appearances as well. Now, Loane, off topic, my apologies with Brick. I'm hype I got you System Master today. It's not off topic at all. We're talking about Granblue. That's very hype. Congratulations. 11 Loanes. Oh my. Yeah, he is. I mean, Beatrix is the only person biting at his heels here, but she's not in this bracket, man. He's starting to lap the roster just a little bit. 3 stream streak. Thank you very much, Melon Bread. Meg, again, entirely off the back of Gamera, but hey, Meg showed up again, all right? Cagliostro gets her 8th appearance as well. Just, I mean, and a lot of these Cag appearances, even when she doesn't win, right? She's, like, always on the higher ends of these brackets, too. 3rd, 4th, etc., right? Psycho monologue about Lowain. Let's save that to the end. Let's see how he performed. Okay, let's keep going. We have three left. All right, we have 3 left. Let's see. Maybe it's not so. Oh, we only have 3 left. Oh, it is. The picture really is starting to form, huh? The picture really is starting to form right here. But let's save that to the end. Okay. Let's maybe he's not so bad. Maybe the last 3 tournaments he just never shows up. Honestly, he would still be like arguably the best performing character of the year if that happened right now. But let's go. Okay, let's go. Lowain shows up again. Meg shows up again. Kag shows up again. Fairy, I think I already counted. Let me double check. I think, yeah, 4. No, 5. I said it because it was 4 earlier. Uno. Osaka-san finally actually pulls out the Onrei/Uno. I'll call him Onrei here because I'm lazy. I want to put him at the top of the list. He will get his first appearance. Belial starting to catch up just ever so slightly. RQ also playing Meg here. And another... Oh, I forgot. Yeah, there were 2 there's Ladiva's top 8 back-to-back tournaments. That shit is dope. Another Ladiva in top 8. That's my girl. He's just as good as Wellness, guys. Everyone says Ladiva's bottom tier. Wellness is too, probably. You should buff his ass. All right, moving on. Right. This Nansha Fight Club. Nansha Fight Club right here. Right. A gold event again, though, with a pretty decently sized prize pool. So I figured it would attract some talent. I mean, Pixie came here from Italy? He did what? Honestly, that is impressive. Yeah, fair enough, man. I respect the hustle. He's been everywhere, right? He came here just to fucking pump the Lowain numbers up. Yeah, he showed up. What a guy. What a guy. But yeah, Chinese tournament here, right? Lancelot, huh? Lancelot goes crazy over in China. Chinese meta's all Lancelot. Wanted to go to Cygames Cup 2, but work said, fuck you. Crazy. All right. Lance gets his first, and I believe only, win so far. I hope you guys are happy with these numbers right now because Outplayed is about to make you very sad. I didn't want to include this, but I feel like I just kind of had to, right? Lance gets his first win. Amazing. He also gets his 3rd and 4th top 8 appearance there, right? Kag gets her 9th. Almost about to pass up Beatrix right there, tied up. Zeta shows up again, I believe for the last time so far this year. We will also grab another Vasaraga appearance, another Eustace, and another Lowain, putting him up at 12, right? Eustace gets his 3rd appearance right here as well. And then finally, we have Siegfried getting his 3rd appearance. Clearly you well bottom 1, no rep. It's true. We can look at what characters didn't exist at all here either, right? That could be an interesting thing to see. Again, top 16s, top 24s, things open up a lot, but it will be interesting to, once we have all of this, I might try and organize it a little bit. And we can maybe do some data analytics. Does that word get you as fucking wet as it gets me? It gets me pretty wet. Anyway, Lance wins. Okay, I'm gonna hold your hand while I do this. Outplayed, because I mean, so far, right? Just walk with me for a second. Still, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different champions for 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15 tournaments, 9 champions. That's pretty good, right? Yes, obviously you have some repeat winners. The most is only 3, right? Obviously Beatrix is a standout there, but it's not like she's dominating everything. Pretty good, right? And the top 8 appearances, certainly there's like a Lowain bias, a Kag bias, a Beatrix bias, things like this, but it's okay. And the top 8s in general, we really, I don't think we've had more than 2 of a character ever in a top 8 so far, right? Is that true? Let me double check that, make sure I'm not talking out my ass. But I think so, right? Like 2 Vasaragas right here, but that's it. We had, yeah, no duplicates here, right? No duplicate. 2 Lowains here. We haven't had more than 2 of any character so far. Yeah, 2 Materas here, right? No duplicates there. No duplicates. I'm pretty sure. I think we have not had more than 2 characters in the same top 8 so far. Outplayed is not good. Outplayed does not make the game look very good. And considering that it is one of the more recent brackets, it is a little... We have the Fight Club top 8s in. I wasn't looking. I added this in. Yes, the Fight Club Nansha here. Outplayed looks like this. Okay. Matera wins. Fairy comes in 2nd. Matera comes in 3rd. Lowain comes in 4th. Lowain comes in 5th. Catalina comes in 6th. Matera comes in 7th. Siegfried comes in 8th, right? It's a gold tournament, but it's got over $1,000 prize pool, and it was still a pretty big European tournament. I feel like it warranted inclusion. The cope is you call this. There's 2 ways you can read this tournament, right? There's 2 ways you can read this tournament. The cope is that you call this an outlier, and you just go ahead, you just move forward, right? Maybe not the cope. The positive reading. Saki played Loane, by the way. Oh no, he fucking didn't. Are you serious? Man. The positive reading of this is that this is an anomaly, right? We haven't had a tournament like this all year. Even in the bigger tournaments, we haven't had this all year. The sort of sad reading of this is that this is one of the most recent tournaments we've had. So maybe this is what, maybe the meta was more balanced earlier on, and this is just what we're settling on now. Okay? 3 Loanes and 3 Materas in one tournament. I mean, if you want to count Saki, I think one game he counts as an appearance. He counts as an appearance at the very least, right? Woo, baby. It's a normal EU top 8. Not so far. I mean, a bunch of the tournaments that I've had in here have been EU, and this is the first time this has happened, right? But yes, Matera actually gets her first win, believe it or not. Matera is very strong, certainly, but just has not been seeing necessarily the same level of success or even representation, right? This is going to be, well, she's going to get 3 right here, but she only had 5 so far, right? So Matera is going to get her first W right here. Let's get you here. Let's move Lance down here, and let's fill in this gap, right? 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. So Matera is going to join these fellows right here with her championship ring, right? Now, yeah, this is where things are just a little rough, right? We have to add 3 Materas in, so Matera gets 8. Suddenly she goes from like, she's not that represented, she gets 8. This is maybe, again, you can call this an anomaly if you want. I'm including it. Fairy gets her 6th appearance. She actually just gets lapped by Matera in this bracket, goes from being tied to just like way behind, right? And then we gotta count 3 Loanes as well, which means that Loane now has 15 top 8 appearances in major brackets. Almost, Beatrix, Cat, no one else has even broken double digits, and Loane is halfway to 20. He doubles up most everyone who isn't the 2 guys with 9, Like, it's basically double Matera. And he almost has the most wins as well. I don't know. You tell me, do you think of the 1 extra win that Beatrix has over him here? Because obviously we know Cygames Cup was not won by Beatrix. I don't know. You tell me. But, wow. 15, huh? 15 top 8 appearances and 2 wins? Okay, cool. No, for sure. No, for sure. I tried to get a decent sample size of regions here, too. Obviously, Evo Japan, right? Combo Breaker is heavily NA, right? This was in Melbourne, but it was, Japanese. A lot of it was, like, Japanese and Australian, right? Makes sense. They can travel there to Oceania pretty easily, right? CEO, pretty North American. This was a European tournament. This was mostly North America. Well, it's Evo, but, like, obviously, North America, Japan. Evo doesn't really count, right? This was, EU primarily, right? EU, right? This is France, obviously. This is mostly like the sort of greater Asia region, right? South America only. South America is the one place I haven't gotten a lot of representation for. But like this was kind of the one really major tournament that they had as far as I could tell, right? Again, this was more so like greater Asia region, Europe, right? Japan, China, which was, mostly China, I guess. And then this is Europe again. So, like, if anything, maybe I'm underrepresenting North American brackets a little bit, but North America gets some of the bigger ones, too, so it's fine. So, anyway, with a pretty good regional representation, Loane has 15 top 8 appearances and 2 wins. Good. Glad to hear that. Cygames Cup, I'm just gonna pretend Outplayed didn't happen. Okay? I'm just gonna pretend that shit didn't happen. Cygames Cup was interesting because Vasaraga gets his 2nd win. It's been a while since Battle Coliseum, right? But Voss does get his 2nd win, right? So this character also very much. If you want more SA representation, you can add Ragnarok. I'll take a look. Voss gets his 2nd win, right? Oh, not that many repeat champions here. Though it is interesting that there are more repeat champions than one-offs, right? So certainly the winning, like, did he count Cat and Sieg for Outplay? Oh, I didn't. Thank you for keeping me honest. Cat, I was too busy dooming. That's my bad. Yeah, so there are more repeat winners than single-time winners, right? So definitely the characters winning these brackets, this is partially down to players as well, right? Like 2 of these Beatrix wins are Space, one of them is Koji, right? I believe were both of these Zangief Dream? I can't remember. This was one Zane, one Usagi, right? These were both Shio. So like some of this just comes down to what characters are like the best players playing, but also, how you can kind of go, all right, is the character winning a lot because the best players are playing them, or are the best players playing them because the character's good? It's certainly both, right? But it does factor in. Anyways, so Vassar gets his second win here. He also doesn't quite break double digits on his appearances. Cagliostro, however, will. Cag will be, so far, the only other character to get up to 10 top 8 appearances. Cag, I feel like, goes under the radar for some people, by the way. I feel like most people who know Ball realize this character is an IDF soldier, right? But she flies a little bit under the radar for some people, which, you know, it's a bit, right? Right? This character's pretty good. Go watch Elsa Lab Cagliostro for 10 minutes and tell me what you think of that character leaving that stream, right? All right. Koji. Belial. I'll put Zoe in here too. I don't, you know, she's not relevant to these results. I'll give her a second appearance. Why not? Just why not? Loane, 16 now. Amazing. Someone finally caught up to him on double digits, so he had to make the lead just that little bit bigger. So fair. I remember this is a pretty funny match. That who was it the match against Hiragi? I think so. Yeah, these guys had a funny match. Osakana-san puts Uno on the board one more time, saving him from single appearance hell. And then Hiragi puts Grim up to 7. Grim had a really strong start to the year. And then I think basically, you know, Zane, well, Usagi obviously was big for the win representation, right? But Zane, like, he qualified, and then his ass went and played some 2x KO, and Grim kind of, he stopped showing up as much. Regardless, Grim with 7. And then finally, Kazu Usagi once again bringing Fairy back up to 7 as well. Okay? Okay, where does this leave us? Should I order this? Give me a second. Let me fucking order this. Let me order this now. Let's. Before it was just to find them easier. Now that we're not going to add to this, let's just order this by the number of appearances. All right. Cag had 10. Beatrix had 9. Someone else had 9 as well. Voss, right, had 9. Vassaraga had 9 appearances in top 8 as well. A couple people had 8, Matera being one of them. Outplayed, obviously, factors very heavily into that. But listen, man, it was a tournament that happened. Oh, was it only Matera? Okay. It was 7. Yeah, 7. Fairy had 7. Right? Fairy showed up 7 times. Grimnir showed up 7 times. Boop. And what was it, really? Okay. Sandalphon showed up 6. Right? Sandy here 6 times. This is just Arc World Tour events. Yeah, I expected more of Versuja. This character is ruining my enjoyment. Not really, right? She's very good, I think, but yeah, she's just, you know, I think there's a pattern here that we're gonna talk about in a second. Okay, I think there's a pattern here that we're gonna talk about in a second as to these characters that are showing up relatively often, right? Sora's, this is almost entirely skill, okay, but what can I say? Sora is also on the higher end of the roster here, showing up 6 times. Catalina with 6 as well, right? Catalina with 6. Rumble and SoCal, true. No UL, man, we gotta lock in. No UL, not a single UL. We can talk about what characters don't show up here at all, right? Belial had 5. Belial, 5 appearances. Is that it? Is he the only guy with 5? That's curious. I think that'll be like a number that a lot of people would centralize around. No, Percy also, there you go. This was mostly Toro, but you know. I know, it was like 3 of these were Toro. There were 2 other appearances that weren't him, I believe. Lance, 4. He kind of caught up near the end there, right? Lancelot with 4. We had Meg. This is literally all Gamera. Well, there's RQ, the one time too. And then Siegfried with 4 as well. And then I think that's all the 4s. 3 is Seox. This, I think, literally was all Ryazo. Right, 3 is 2B as well. I can leave her right there. That's fine. Charlotta and Eustace can both go down here as well. Narmaya can get slotted right in here. 2, we have Uno, Bubs, Gran is here. Ladiva is here. Broken ass Ladiva, just as good as Bubs, Versuja, and Wilness. Keep that one in the dome piece, man. Right, Versuja, Wilness, and Zeta. And then we have all of our... Oh, Zoe. I forgot about Zoe, just like the fucking Cygames devs for a year and a half. We have all of our single appearance individuals right here. Okay? All right, cool. Sorted. Did we see Jita? Never. No. So, if you sort by neither regular nor EX, who was the EX Narm? Was a guy called Boomer I believe, was it in B Pro Cup? Yes, it was in B Pro Cup. Sorted by number of top 8 appearances instead of alphabetically now. We have Lowain in just staggering first place with 16, right? I mean, depends on if you're thinking about this shit logarithmically or not, but like Cagliostro in second with, it's not close, right? Their entire characters, I mean, if anything, most of the characters here, the amount of times they show up in a top 8 is less than or equal to the gap between Lowain and Cagliostro, right? Like there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters. For whom this is not the case if you count Lowain himself. The gap between Lowain and second place is bigger than the total number of appearances for most of the roster. So, you know, I would say he takes the cake on that pretty insanely easily, right? He also comes in with 2 wins. I don't know. I mean, some of these, if you wanted, I would be interested if we filter this for only the platinum events. How does it change? I think it's something you could do that's quite interesting, right? If we just take the like 4 biggest events of the year, or the 3 biggest, I think it was 4 so far. We had 4 platinums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What? Is it everywhere? Is it everywhere? Am I losing my fucking mind? Is it everywhere? Or is that just me? 7 events. I'd be curious to do like a secondary filtering of this on just platinum events and see what that looks like. But including gold pluses and some of the bigger golds, I mean, Lowain is by far the game's dominant tournament character, right? Good day, lads and ladies. Hello, Excellion. Are there any characters with 0 representation? A bunch, yeah. I mean, I guess before we go into that, yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. That's, I will say, way better than you would expect, right? The game has, with Wellness in it, 40 characters. 41, maybe? 85% of the roster has shown up in a top 8 at least once, including EX Narmaya of all characters. That is pretty good, right? I would call that a pretty good vital sign. That throughout the year, again, almost the entire roster has shown up in a top 8 at least once. I would also call it a relatively, barely played this game, but why is Lowain broken? Is it their super? It's a lot of things. Lowain has maybe the best fireball in the game with his U fireball. Him having both a parry and a DP reversal is pretty good. His 2M is like one of the best buttons in the game. His 5U, the ability to like heal and gain all that meter, which he can do often in mid combo and at no risk, is really good. It is not, you know, I'm not surprised that Lowain is doing really well here. He's well known to be very strong at this point. I'm a little surprised he did this well. You know, I'm a little surprised he did leaving second place in the dust well. Even if you ignore outplayed, it's still 13 to 10, right? So, but yeah, Lowain is strong for a lot of reasons. Human Pyramid is like a guaranteed chip scenario sometimes. Yeah, he is just full of lots of different knowledge checks, right? But I don't know, man. I would also call this a good vital sign, right? We looked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 top 8s. And of those, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different champions, right? So again, 10 different characters represented in the winner's circle as well. 25% of the roster has won a major tournament. That's also good. That's really good to me. And no one has won more than 3 times. You could maybe argue that Beatrix has 4 here. Again, like we talked about, right? Space, the one that he, like, Space maybe should count for 2, but with the way that I'm aggregating this, Beatrix has 3 wins. It's the most, but it is not overwhelming or anything like that, right? So, you know, overall, I feel like this looks pretty good, but it certainly, you know, Matera, like, if you want to look at these characters that, I mean, the cutoff is a little arbitrary, right? But there's certainly, like, you know, there's a lot more characters that showed up, like, 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and above. It seems to be, to me, where, you know, characters are just consistently performing very well. You could certainly account for, like, there's 5 Percys, but 4 of them were Tororo, or something like that, right? But, you know, Percy, Belial, Catalina, Sora's entirely skill. Like, if there's any, like, except for one guy. If there's any character where you just take this number with a grain of salt, it is Sora's, because it's literally, you know. But again, would Skill have gotten Skill is obviously very good at the video game. Skill has maybe the best footsies of any Granblue player I've seen on the planet. Maybe? But would he have gotten as much success as he did if he wasn't playing Sores? Like, I think this character is strong. I'm not surprised by this, right? But yeah, Percy, Belial, Catalina, Sores, Sandy, like, these are just... Sores, I think I would count in this too. These guys are just very consistent, well-balanced, all-round, versatile characters, right? So they play well in tournaments. Yeah, they play well in tournaments. It's not surprising. They don't particularly have any sort of ridiculous weaknesses that can be exploited by a bracket randomly. They will consistently... they're not going to let you down, generally. Slight exception in that, you know, these two can certainly, especially, but all of these guys can, but especially Sores and especially Percy can certainly just get blown the fuck up by zoning, which you're going to notice is a little bit of a problem, right? Grimnir is Grimnir. There's a BlazBlue character, so it's not surprising that he's up here as well. But yeah, here's the real problem, if you want to point something out, right? Is Fairy, Matera, and Lowain as, like, I don't know. If you want to call Lowain a zoner, you can, sure. I'm not saying that zoners inherently is a problem, right? But it's just that, you know, these characters, Fairy, Lowain as well up here, and Matera, this archetype is very meta-dominant right now, right? You could... I don't think you can count Kag. Kag is more of a set play character, right? But she, you know, she can zone out certain characters, right? After using your videos as learning... Of you willing willingness, I learned the off-screen 50-50 combos as an A5, beat an S+2 Lowain. Yo, nice. I'm glad to hear it. Thanks for having coherent videos that make learning easy and fun. I'm glad. That is very nice of you to say, and congratulations on defeating a Lowain. But yeah, like, this is a very polarizing archetype, right? Zoners, and they are real strong right now. Maybe you could argue Lowain isn't that. I feel like he certainly can be. I feel like Lowain, and again, against most of the cast, I feel like he's certainly going to play that way, right? Like, you know, we used to have Shoto Blue, right? Like, you'd have the same thing, but it was just, like, Catalina and Belial and Percy and stuff like that were up here. It's up to you which game state you prefer. I feel like, personally, the one thing is, with characters like these three, they do tend to lock out a lot of characters. You just need that, like, you need to have a very particular toolkit to deal with these characters when they are strong, which they are very clearly very strong right now, right? Why do you think Beatrix and Cagliostro, besides being ridiculously good characters in their own right, right? This is not me saying that the only reason that they're up here, you know, matter is that they have good matchups into X or Y or Z, right? But one of the main reasons that these characters are as successful as they are is that they fight these three pretty well compared to most of the roster, right? Beatrix has a pretty good Matera matchup. She has a pretty decent Lowain. I think she doesn't like Lowain as much as Matera. She has a pretty good Lowain matchup. I think Fairy can cause her some trouble, certainly, but you can also deal with shit like that, right? Depending on how you view some of these characters, you can say set play is the dominant archetype. If you want to count Lowain is a weird fucking character, right? But certainly Kag, right? Kag certainly counts. Could probably argue Vasaraga too, right? But yes, right? Vas is also really up here. Kag is really up here. I don't know what my opinion is on this quite yet, because ignoring, even if you don't want to say like one particular archetype, it is valid, I think, to say that a lot of the characters that are good, that are highly represented in both, you know, the winner's circle here, right? Boss, Fairy, Lowain, Grim, Kag and Beatrix, arguably not really, right? But like Matera, etc. A lot of the characters that are highly represented here are not supposed to be, anyway, archetypally all-rounder type characters, right? So there's two ways you can interpret this, right? Either, oh, that's cool. It is kind of boring to have your top 8 be 7 different flavors of Shoto. So it is interesting that you're seeing, you know, again, if you look at the Cygames Cup top 8, right? You're seeing like a big body, like sort of bruiser, partial. I mean, Voss gets the knockdown and he goes from there. So you can maybe argue him as like I don't think he's a set play character though, right? But like you have this like big body sort of character. You have this set play demon. You have like a Shoto here. You have like whatever the fuck Lowain is, some sort of zoner character, right? You have this like a true all-rounder like Uno. You have a BlazBlue character like Grimnir. You have 2B doesn't fit. I don't know what the fuck 2B's archetype is. Giga mid-range, maybe? I don't know. And you have another zoner and Fairy. So like you can make the argument that it's actually quite nice to have all of these varied archetypes be the strong characters, because it just provides a much more engaging both viewing and like, I mean, maybe not playing experience, right? But it makes the meta more interesting, right? You could argue that a meta where the 5 best characters in the game are like Catalina, Belial, Percival, Sandalphon, and Beatrix or something is a lot more stale. But the other side of this coin is you could say, well, the reason that these supposedly polarized archetypes are as good as they are is because they aren't that polarized currently in the video game, right? Like, theoretically, Metera and Fairy, as an example, they are zoner characters. They should be very good at full screen. Usually zoners get some pretty damn good set play, right? That is like a usual, like that's common across most fighting games, right? But what is supposed to happen is that either zoners have a bit of a harder time, like their pressure isn't as good until they get that knockdown, right? Their pressure is not as strong, or if they ever get put in the corner, their defense is like horrendous, right? Usually those are the two kind of weaknesses of the archetype that are designed to outweigh the idea that a zoner is generally winning at round start. Like especially at the round start distance that Granblue has, it is not, like, it's not too close. Zoners are generally winning at round start. Like, they are already in their win condition when the guy goes, believe in victory, engage. So they're supposed to have bad pressure, not Oki, but bad pressure and bad defense. And Metera has maybe the best pressure in the entire game. And both Metera and Fairy actually have really fucking good defense. Because of the fact that, I mean, both of their far Ls are ridiculously strong defensive tools. And Brave Counter, as it exists, just makes it really hard for a character to the defense to be that bad, right? They don't have meterless DPs, that matters, but they have Brave Counter. So they kind of do get 3, sometimes 4, often 4, if you talk about Fairy, incredibly safe meterless reversals every round, right? So you could argue that the reason that these characters are so high up here isn't, oh, it's so great that even just having a metered DP is pretty big for them. Yeah, having any kind of reversal at all. You could argue that the reason these characters are so high up here isn't because, oh wow, look at all these different archetypes being represented. It's that we have a problem where an archetype that's supposed to look, and we'll talk about Vasaraga and stuff like that too in a second, right? We have a problem where, you know, archetypes that are supposed to look, what the hell is this? Oh, these are like thickness markers and shit like that, right? If you think of like the JoJo fucking stat hexagon, right? Where they show you the fucking stands, right? And you have like pressure, you have fucking Oki, you have defense. Ignore me being horrible at fucking drawing anything, okay? You have like defense, you have like mid-range, you know, you have long range / like zoning or something like that. You have like damage here or something, right? You know, where maybe you'd expect a zoner to be like really good at zoning, right? Possibly like decent in the mid-range, and you know, have really good Oki. Like, they're supposed to have this. But then, like, you know, like, it goes, like, all the way here. It goes, like, all the way here. It goes, like, you know, pretty decent chunk of the way here. But, like, their pressure is supposed to be really weak. They're supposed to maybe be a little lower damage, and their defense is supposed to be bad. You could argue that we have a problem right now where it just looks like this, right? On some of these characters. Like, maybe not quite this much, but it's just that these characters that are these archetypes that are supposed to have these weaknesses that hold them back just don't have them, right? Metera is maybe the highest damage character in the video game. Her mid-range is kind of ridiculous. She's obviously very good at long range with her zoning. Her defense is pretty strong. She has the best pressure in the video game, and God forbid she ever knocks you down in the corner, right? A lot of the same stuff could be said about Fairy. A lot of the same stuff could be said about Luane. Luane is a little bit more interesting. He's more jagged, certainly, right? But Luane has, you know, still pretty good screen control in the mid-range, right? He's very strong at long range because he just has an inevitable win condition of 5Uing you, right? So you have to, like, he doesn't even need to zone you. He just, if he's at full range, you're losing, guaranteed. So you have to do something about it, right? Luane's pressure tends to be pretty good. His Oki is pretty ridiculous. And again, his defense, I mean, he has a meterless reversal. It's not good, but it is a parry and he has a DP, right? So he has both. So you can either choose, like, where normally, you know, you don't safe jump characters with parries. You, like, wake up throw them or something like that, right? And you don't, you know, you don't wake up throw against characters with UDPs, but you can safe jump them. Luane gets to pick, basically. If he sees you go into the air, he can pick his parry, and if he doesn't, he can do his UDP, right? So his defense is not horrible either. Very similar, I mean, Vasaraga as a character, you could certainly say, is the exact same way, right? If the stat chart for defense maxes out at 5, Luane is a 6, damn. You could say this, like, Vasaraga is obviously supposed to be a super high damage character, right? And, you know, usually these characters can have, you know, they're usually quite oppressive on pressure and Oki as well. Vas is kind of like a half grappler, right? So these things tend to happen. But these characters they can tend to struggle sometimes in the mid range, right? because they will have usually big, slow buttons, but they can get kind of outspeeded, outbullied, whiff punished, danced around in neutral by other characters. They tend to be very weak if they're at full screen, right? And oftentimes their defense will not be stellar either, right? You could very much argue that Vasaraga is a character where he's the highest damage character in the game in the corner, at the very least, and maybe overall, right? His pressure is pretty ridiculous. All good so far, right? His Oki is also kind of nuts, just because it's basically just his pressure, and his pressure is one of the most broken advantage states in the video game, right? I genuinely actually think that Vasaraga's defense is not as amazing as some people say it is, but it's probably not as bad as it should be. They have given it a few buffs. It probably shouldn't have got. They nerfed it in some ways too, but it's probably still better than it should be for all of this. And then also, Vasaraga has some of the best buttons in the game. Good luck. Oh, I'm gonna whiff punish Voss 5M. I'm gonna whiff punish Voss's half screen sweep. Yeah, go for it, man. And also, you fireball from Voss. I mean, it's just one of the best fireballs in the entire game too, right? So again, you could argue that it's like this isn't really a case of like, oh my god, I love so much having all these varied archetypes represented. No, it's just kind of that these so-called, supposedly jagged archetypes just don't have a lot of the weaknesses that normally hold them back, but they still come with all the strengths, right? So like, how is like Catalina supposed to compete with that? Cat is a very good character. She's very, Cat, you know, in every aspect of the video game, if it caps out at 5, Cat is like a 4 or, yeah, like a 4 everywhere or something like that, right? But like, what's she supposed to do when there's a bunch of characters walking around that have 2 6s and then 4s everywhere still? You know? I'm not saying boo-hoo, poor Catalina, but it kind of, I still think this character is very good, right? But it kind of is why you might see a little less of her around than a character like this guy or something like that, right? She's why she maybe hasn't won anything. So, you know, Cagliostro, kind of a similar idea as well. This character is supposed to be, right? Obviously, this is a set play character. She should be Oki the video game, right? Cagliostro has the best Oki in the video game. That's correct. Hooray. Good, right? Oftentimes, set play is a really big archetype, so I'm not gonna like say anything too definitively here, right? But oftentimes these characters, maybe it's like they can struggle before they get the knockdown, right? Their pressure isn't the best, but it's like once if they get that knockdown, you're going into the fucking blender forever. Good luck, motherfucker, right? Maybe sometimes like their pressure and their offense are both good, but their damage is a little lower or something like that. Maybe just in general, their advantage state is ridiculous. Pressure, offense, and damage is really high, but they can struggle to get there, right? That's almost, you can call a grappler this version of like a set play character. Grappling is, it's kind of related, right? Where it's like their damage is really high, their pressure is very good, and their Oki's ridiculous, but like they struggle a lot at long range and at mid range, and their defense is bad or something, right? I don't know what version of Cagliostro, Cagliostro is supposed to be, but it kind of doesn't fucking matter. Because again, Cagliostro, her damage is like a 4 out of 5, right? Her pressure is like a 4, maybe higher out of 5. Her Oki is like a 17 out of 5. It's the best in the game by far, right? Her defense is fine, I guess. Maybe it's like a 3.5 or something. Her mid-range is like a 5 out of 5, and her zoning is like a 4 or a 3 out of 5 too, right? This character doesn't have something she's bad at. Again, essentially, right? Actually, yeah, Kag's pressure probably better than I'm giving it credit for here. It probably has like a 4.5 or a 5 something, right? So again, you can maybe say that, you know, some of these characters at the top here, it's a little, right? I'm brand new to the game. Can I ask your opinion on Avatar, Belial, and Zoe? Where can they fall on a hex chart like this? Zoe, I still have some figuring out to do about Zoe. So I'm not gonna tell you anything with like, I'm not gonna put my nuts on the table and tell you I know exactly what's up with Zoe. She's interesting. She got a sort of change to her playstyle almost recently, but I'll tell you, Avatar Belial is he's in a rough way. I don't think Avatar is very good at all, and I think that's intentional. I think they make him bad on purpose because it's kind of a toxic design. If Avatar Belial is good, he becomes like Akuma with flight. He becomes Akuma with Zamasu flight, and I don't think they want that to happen. But I mean, Avatar is like, honestly, his damage is good. It's not even that good though. It's like a 4 or something out of 5, right? His pressure's solid. It's like maybe like a 4 as well or something. Oki's fine. Nothing really too special about it, right? It's okay. It's like a 2 or something like that. His defense is like a 1 because he kills himself. Like the risk reward and everything he does is horrendous, right? His mid range is pretty good. Like probably like a 4 or 5 or something. And Avatar is actually a zoner, is what this fucking character is. Avatar is actually one of the better zoners in the video game. Like if I give him a 5 on anything, it will probably be zoning, right? But he just is underpowered. I think he's fun. He's very fun. But yeah, so I don't know. There's 2 ways you can interpret this. I think as always, the boring answer is probably the correct one. In that, is the state of the game good or bad? overall, I think I'm very happy. What I said in the Psy Games Cup video does not change, right? I think Granblue is in a good spot, certainly, but there's a couple of asterisks on that, right? How do you fix this? Whoo, I don't fucking know. This is where game balance is just hard, right? The asterisks being, again, there are very clearly a few. What about Beatrix, by the way, here? Listen. This is, you could argue Beatrix is the most, I've not really, her name has not darkened my door. I've been talking about all the characters around her, right? Kag, Loain, Voss, Matera, Fairy, Grimm, all of this. Beatrix's name has not really crossed my tongue. Beatrix is going under the radar. You could argue this is the best character in the game. Very easily. And by results as well, you have supporting evidence here. This is the character with the most wins. And as well, she has, you know, the third most appearances. Now, dwarfed by Loain, but still the third most appearances. So you could very easily say that this character is the best character in the game. If you really pushed me right now, I might agree with you. I think that might be, if I had to get, like, I've been kind of rethinking a lot of my opinions about the game recently. If you really pushed me, I might agree with you right now, that I think Beatrix is probably top 1. To me, I don't know. Maybe I just enjoy Rushdown Slop. When Belial, okay, here's the thing, right? When Belial was the best character in the game, I was kind of okay with it. Is kind of my point. There was a point there post Versuja patch where Belial was just kind of basically top 1 free, sort of. Maybe you could argue Grimnir, but I think some stuff still getting labbed out with him, right? Grimm wasn't at the peak of his development yet. So like, there's a point in the game there where Belial was just kind of top 1 free. I was kind of okay with it. Maybe this is where you very much take your own opinions on things, but I feel like having a sort of general versatile all-rounder-ish be the top of the food chain is not so bad. Mostly because they tend to act as a little bit of a... To me, they act as like a dampener on how crazy shit can get, right? Like your meta, if like, you know, if this is like, say, like, you know, we have an a y-axis here of like how dope the meta is, right? If we have like a y-axis here of like how dope the meta is, and it can go negative because shit can be really bad, right? We have an x-axis here of like over time, right? If you have a character like Belial as top 1, he kind of like puts a minimum and a maximum on this, where he can kind of keep a lot of shit in check, but he can also keep a lot of cool archetypes from being represented, right? So he can kind of do something like this, right? Where it can't really oscillate much more than this. You might look at that and go, that shit's boring. You know, I don't like that. That makes the meta stale. I don't fuck with that at all, right? Now, without him, though, you can get a way more interesting meta if you have a bunch, like, way more representation. You can get shit that looks way cooler without a kind of, like, just all-rounder, consistent, picked in every tournament gatekeeper like that, right? But you can also end up with some real fuck shit, right? The limiters just kind of get taken off. Now, some people might look at that limiter on how good things can get and how bad things can get and go, brother, that's called depression, right? That's just kind of what that is. That's like what that is called is depression. I can't feel anything anymore, right? Everything is just all the time, and I don't want to get out of bed. That's valid. That's a valid comparison. I'm not so sure that I'm like, Belial should be top 1 again. I don't think so. The other question is, why the fuck are you saying all of this, streamer? The reason I brought this up in the same breath as Beatrix is like, I don't know if you can call Beatrix that, right? I don't know if you can call Beatrix that. Beatrix is not exactly some kind of all-rounder character, kind of. But Beatrix is just kind of good because all of her options are just kind of really good on the risk reward, right? She still just does a lot of damage, and Clock is the most ridiculous comeback mechanic in the game, and her buttons are solid overall, and riding free invalidates like half the fucking casts. So I don't even know if you could call her that, right? Yes, got a command grab for some reason. I still don't get it. That's one of the craziest things about her, right? Why does she have a command grab? And why does it give her Clock? But I think you could make a similar argument for Beatrix that you could make for like a character like Belial, like that, right? The reason I brought it up, right, is that maybe you could make an argument like that for Beatrix, where if Beatrix is the best character in the game, is it so bad, right? Like, this is a little bit fascist, right? It's a little bit one of those, you know, it's one of those lesser evil things that leads you down the road to what's happening in Minnesota right now. But like, you could make an argument of like, it could be worse. right? Would you rather have a Beatrix top 1 or a Luane top 1? You know, I mean, we might kind of have both right now, honestly. So maybe we don't get the fucking pick. But you could have an idea where it's like, maybe Beatrix being as good as she is not so bad for the health of the game. Whereas I think, and again, this is all entirely subjective, but I think you can make an argument that these characters that are supposed to be more polarized and have these weaknesses that hold them back, kind of getting buffed and compensation buffed often into having those weaknesses taken away, right, is less healthy, right? A character like Vasaraga or Matera or Fairy or Grim or Luane or Kag or whatever, existing in the state that they are without the kind of weaknesses that generally are meant to define the archetype that they are, makes shit feel a lot more one-sided often when you're getting your shit rocked by them, right? These characters beat you in ways that feel, to me, a lot worse than Beatrix. This is just me. Call me a Shoto slop, versatile, pilled Pathfinder enjoyer, whatever you want. You can call me whatever slurs you like, as long as you'd say it in a nice tone of voice, okay, and give me $5 a month. But to me, losing to this character often does not feel nearly as crushing as losing to any of the ones around her, personally, right? Now, there's another option here. What if every character was just, what if every character showed up here like 1 to 5 times? What if there just wasn't outliers? Cool, awesome. That doesn't happen. I got bad news. That doesn't happen, right? I would tell you that still, even after looking at all of this data, I think Granblue is a very well-balanced game. You still get characters like this, right? It is impossible to make every character is almost as good as each other unless they're all the same guy, right? So you have to pick standouts. You are never going to have. It is impossible to construct a meta where there aren't standouts. And personally, I might be more okay with Beatrix being the standout type character. You know what I mean? Compared to kind of most of the characters that sit around her here. But you can think of that what you will. Real quick. I know we've been talking about this for a long time, but I'm having a good time. Hope you guys are having a good time as well. If any of the Diaphone Raiders are still here, I want to tell you I stream every day, 5 to 9 p.m. on except for Fridays, Eastern time. But I wanted to narrow this down to only platinum events, and I want to see how it changes things. This will be a lot quicker. I'm having a good time. Very well, amazing. They've been almost only raising the power level of the characters, hoping if we get a big patch, it's more of a tone down of the power level. Okay, hold. Okay, very important. You need some historical context on the video game here, right? Because what you're saying is correct, but I'm okay with that up to a point. Recently, it feels like it's starting to go too far, right? But I was a post-Versuja patch. They have basically just been making everything in the game better, except for obviously Sandalphon making Brave Counter -2, right? That's a huge, just giant drop down in the power level of the game, is that your guard cancel is no longer plus on block universally. But, right? Very well indeed. If you look at, again, x-axis, y-axis, right? If we have a y-axis of the power level of the video game generally, especially of the top end of the video game, and x being time, Rising started off like here, right? Rising started off here. It was fucking ridiculous for the game that it was. The top tiers, the top end of the top tiers was so far beyond anything else in the video game. It was hilarious, right? Just Nier by herself was the only character on the tier list, realistically, right? We just got lucky they nerfed her a couple months in. So the Versuja patch was a big, like, you know, if we're just kind of cruising around in fucking nonsense bullshit land here, the Vayne patch hits somewhere around here, right? The Vayne patch hits somewhere around here, and it drops like pretty significantly, right? Nier can no longer combo off her DP. Lancelot is occasionally not punishable, not plus on literally everything he does, right? I believe Siegfried loses his guaranteed 16,000 damage unblockable combo here, right? The Vayne patch is a big drop down in power for the video game. And then the Versuja patch happens around here. When I say power level, I mean the overall top end, right? So the Versuja patch happens around here, and it's another, it's like a dive, right? Belial being the best character in the game post Versuja patch, the nerfed Belial. He was nerfed. He got some compensation buffs, which is an interesting pattern that we can have a whole other discussion video about that, right? In fact, I'm going to do that because I think with the Elsa patch coming up, patch philosophy is very important to talk about, and there is if you've been around the game for a while, the word compensation buff. I guess you played Arxis games for a while. The word compensation buffs haunts your dreams, so we can certainly make a whole patch history video talking about that. But like the nerfed version of Belial being top 1 free in this patch is hilarious, right? Because that character was not even like he was top 5 when he had an unblockable that he could combo off of here, right? He wasn't even the best character in the game, and then they took away his guaranteed unblockable that led to a combo, and then he was top 1, right? So the top end of the game went down. I mean, honestly, I didn't do this justice. The top end of the game went down dramatically in the Versucha patch, right? It is ridiculous how much weaker the best character in the game post Versucha patch was compared to pre Versucha patch. I mean, because you're comparing post nerf Belial to fucking Nier, right? I almost can't even draw this drop off, right? Like it actually is like it's like that or something, right? So, all that being said, in the patches since then, they have absolutely been buffing the game back up, right? Let me just stop here. Like they have certainly, you know, Sandalphon patch, you could argue, was relatively kind of stagnant, right? The Galleon patch to me was the first time where I was like, oh shit. Well, no, Sandalphon patch buffed Pharah and Materi, actually. Yes. Because they tried to compensate them. Pharah and Matera, if you are unhappy with the state of Pharah and Matera, they came as compensation buffs. This was compensation buffs for Brave counter getting nerfed, was what Pharah and Matera got, right? But yeah, like Pharah and Matera, their existence certainly, right, brings us back up, right? And then we get the Galleon patch, and you get like ridiculous Voss buffs and shit like that. That brings us back up. And the Wellness patch breaks Fairy and buffs Percy and shit, shit like that, right? So we are climbing back up. If this is near, we're nowhere near there still, right? So like again, let me watch my mouth, right? We are climbing back up, right? They have certainly been raising the power level of the game with subsequent patches. The top end of the game is, if you combine most of the Season 2 patches so far, maybe it'll be about the same length of the Future patch, which is concerning. I disagree strongly. No, I disagree strongly. No. If they popped out another Versucha patch at any point, the Ilsa patch is the first time that I would accept it. I still don't think so. I think the only time that it will be a good, unless you just want to throw fucking grenades into the room, because that's fun for you, right? You're just like, fuck it, new game. I think the only time, in my opinion, that like a Versucha-sized patch, Versucha patch-sized patch will be a good idea again, is like the Season 3 starter patch. It would be a horrible idea to do the Versucha patch, and then the Sandalphon patch, and then have the Galleon patch be another Versucha patch. You would just be asking to light your fucking game on fire. The Versucha patch itself, the only reason it needed to be as big as it was is because before, I talk about this all the time, before the Versucha patch, Rising is not a fighting game, right? Rising is like, it genuinely, right, is one of those, we really played this game for money type games, right? It is ridiculous that, like, it is, in hindsight, the state that the game was in before the Versucha patch is laughable. It's a fucking Kusoge, right? So, the reason, because not only, because you got to think about it, not only is it like Nier and Nier is running around doing, I can't go back into it, right? But like Nier is doing the fucking 17 things she was doing, right? An unblockable that you can combo off of guaranteed on every hit only makes you top 5, right? The top end is ridiculous, but also you have characters like Avatar Belial who paid 1600 health to do like less damage than that to the opponent, right? Yeah, you had Launch B with plus on block 2-2M, yeah? But you had characters like Avatar Belial who paid health to do less damage than average. You had characters like, I mean, Release Anila. I think she got some help in the Vayne patch, but like, you had Release Anila who like, her buttons didn't combo into her moves and she didn't get any reward off of anything, even with meter. She practically didn't have U skills, right? You had like, so many characters on the bottom end of this game that didn't do anything. So not only was the top end ridiculously high, higher than it's ever been, the low end was the lowest it's ever been. This was not a balanced video game before the Versucha patch. So they needed a huge patch like the Versucha patch where every single character got like 11 changes because the game was fucked. It wasn't functional. After the Versucha patch, that wasn't the case anymore, right? The gap between the top end and the low end was the smallest it's ever been. They did not... If you threw another patch where you're just like, all right, guys, 39 characters, 10 changes each, you would almost guaranteed break something. Because we just don't need that many. Yeah? Launch UL getting timed out and losing to crouch block? Yeah, that's true. Launch UL didn't do anything. Lan Xuel's options were strike or 20-frame reactable throw. That was the character. That was the actual character, right? Lan Xuel had a 20-frame throw, and that was how she opened you up. That's what she did. You made a butt? It's true. How bad was Launch Ladiva? I know it was bad for her. Launch Ladiva, Launch Ladiva was kind of... She got a bunch of minor buffs until the Galleon patch, where she got much more major ones, but also zoning went to Stratosphere, so she kind of remained the same meta-wise. Launch Ladiva was not... I mean, she was about as good as you would expect her to be. She wasn't good, right? But she did what she was kind of supposed to do. Backdash is kind of a nightmare for her. Launch Ladiva was quite bad. She was not very strong, certainly, right? She just had the benefit of, like, it was the early game and the grappler was there. Grappler's always, before people really figure out their fundies for the video game, the grappler always kind of does better than you'd expect. But yeah, so we definitely don't want another Versuta size patch for a long time. The Sandalphon patch, I still think, like, individual character changes were not that big, which in hindsight, sure, I get it. In the moment, I was like, eh. And also it brought us your favorites, Fairy and Matera, right? Were brought to you by the Sandalphon patch. But like, I mean, I can't look back on the Sandalphon patch and go, it wasn't impactful enough. Are you fucking kidding me? Cast your mind back, people. If you played Rising before the Sandalphon patch, okay? Cast your mind back. Come with me on a little journey, okay? Come with me on a little journey to, I want you to just... I'm gonna paint a word picture for you, all right? You, my friend, are a relatively good player in the first year of Granblue Fantasy versus Rising, okay? You are a strong player. You get a hard knockdown on a Gran, okay? You walk up to that Gran and you meaty him with a close L, okay? You meaty that Gran with a close L, okay? And on wake up, he does this. You, because you are a smart player, you did a safe jab. You block his Brave counter. Do you remember what the optimal thing to do was here? Any students? Anyone in the back of the class? Keep blocking? Nope, not correct. Dragon got it. Yep. BC back, late BC back. Yes. Okay. Now question. His Brave counter recovered in time. So he blocks your BC because, of course he did. What happened when he did that? Not a trick question. Come on, YouTube chat. Anyway, well, not a trick. When he blocked your BC, what did he do? He'll BC back. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. You both have 3 Brave points at the start of this encounter, by the way. Okay. So you now have blocked his BC. What should you do? Not a trick question. What is the correct thing for you to do now? Come on. So, anyone feeling brave? BC back again. He BC's back. Yeah, there you go. You guys are catching on now. All right. Okay, cool. And then super could be. Yeah, it's true. But yes, unironically, this was the game, right? The Sandalphon patch. For the sake of argument, he then blocks your BC. What do you think he then does? Answer the fucking question. It's not a trick question. What does he do? What do you think he does? Delay BC back. BC back. That's damn right. At this point, by the way, both of you have 1 Brave point left. Okay? So you can do this 2 more times. This was the game. And you might be like, why the fuck would you ever do that? Go watch a high-level tournament from back in the day. This happens. A guy would block a BC, and it will be BC, 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 BC. It's like fucking Vanish Wars and Sparking Zero. And you know how much everyone loves that. The Sandalphon patch got rid of this. I don't know, brother. I can't look at the Sandalphon patch and go, man, that patch wasn't impactful enough. I can't in good conscience look back at the Sandalphon patch and go, nah, game was basically the same before, and it wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, because BC used to be +6 on block. And they made it -2 in the Sandalphon patch, right? Half the fucking top 8 matches had this happen, yeah. So I can't look at the Sandalphon patch and go, that wasn't a good patch. That's like the 2nd best patch in the game's history. Now, is it a bit of a low-hanging fruit? Because why the fuck was BC ever plus on block and they just made the obvious change? Yeah, sure. But like, yeah, right? And yes, non-UDP is getting counter hits. And I mean, again, you want to say that was the Sandalphon patch impactful or not? It gave you Fairy and Matera. So, pretty impactful to me. I don't know. It seems pretty impactful to me, guys. I don't know. But anyways, I got sidetracked, right? My point is that while they certainly have been raising the power level of the game, I'm kind of okay with that. My problem with it is the overall top end of the game getting higher. I'm fine with, because the Resurgent patch was kind of a great reset, right? But my problem is that if this is the top end, and it's getting higher in the Sandalphon patch, and then higher again in the Galleon patch, and then higher again in the Wellness patch, and then higher again in the Meg patch, right? I'm okay with this, because we're still nowhere near the, like, ridiculous levels we were up here. But the problem is, it feels like the bottom end is just here still. Yeah? So, the gap between the good characters and the bad characters has felt to me like it has continuously been growing throughout the year. That's the part I don't like. Now, they've brought a couple characters out of the dirt and, like, been like, okay, you're part of the top tier. Now, that's cool. But it does feel like the gap between the best characters in the game and, like, the handful of worst characters in the game is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every patch. And that, to me, is a bit of a concerning pattern, right? So I'm certainly not only am I hoping, right? Not only am I hoping to see some meaningful top-tier nerfs with no compensation buffs, please, side games. Unless the nerf is, like, a ridiculous kneecapping like you did to Nier, which you shouldn't do to any of these characters, by the way. That would be a bad idea. But if you did that, then you should give them some compensation buffs, right? Otherwise, just nerf them. I'm begging you. Just nerf some of these characters, okay? That being said, real quick, I get sidetracked to the fucking hell and back around here, but there was one more thing I wanted to do, right? Main problem I wanted to point out was the balance philosophy of the game being mainly just removing weaknesses of characters. Yeah, I think that's very valid, right? I mean, that's what we were just talking about. That's what we were just talking about, is like the fact that a lot of these best characters are basically characters that exist in archetypes that should have defining balancing weaknesses and just don't have them, right? The Zoner has the best rushdown and some of the best defense in the game. The Zoner has the best rushdown and some of the best defense in the game, right? The Zoner has the best rushdown and some of the best defense in the game. The Zoner, well, the set play character has some of the best mid-range pressure and zoning, kind of, depending on the character you're fighting in the game. So, you know, Beatrix maybe shouldn't have 16k. I don't know. Like, maybe Beatrix, a character with this much damage and pressure and offense and a command grab and, like, real mix and mid-range, maybe she should be, like, a 15 or 14k character. I don't fucking know. So, like, there's... The best characters just don't really have weaknesses. Yeah. Give them weaknesses. Even if you want to keep the really fucked shit... I agree with you very much. I like the idea of characters being able to do fucked shit, okay? Personally, I don't like playing, like, just a character who's good because they're balanced everywhere. I like doing Big Body as the best neutral in the game, yeah. I like doing fucked up shit to people. That's what's fun to me. I'm a grappler main, right? What do you think? That's what's fun to me about fighting games. So I don't mind, I don't even necessarily mind, like, the most egregious shit, right? Like Matera having, like, U-Butterfly and shit like that, right? Like Luane doing whatever the fuck he does with, like, the bros and the eating and everything like that, right? Beatrix doing everything that she fucking does. Vasaraga having maybe not U-Fireball, but, like, Vasaraga having, like, the Soul Forge advantage state that he has. I'm okay with this. But they need to, like, have something they're really bad at. If you're going to give a character some, like, that level of strength, they need to have something that they're really bad at. Like my GOAT, right here, Ladiva. This character is still, to this day, has one of the scariest, like, in the corner. Ladiva is fully up there for one of the scariest advantage states in the entire fucking video game. Smash player spotted, yes, right? She's got 18,000 health, right? She has actually pretty good buttons, right? But her move speed and her walk speed is horrendous. She has no projectile at all, so she's very vulnerable to just getting, like, you know, kind of sat down at full screen and dying. They've given her better defense recently as well. That's kind of they kind of, again, you could argue she's part of her weaknesses were removed there, right? But, like, she has really bad neutral, right? She has a really hard time of it getting into her win condition. And then when she gets there, right? When she gets there, she's horrifying. I like this character. Maybe you don't like this character. But to me, this is fine. She's incredibly strong in the place she wants to be, but you can do something about it, right? It's like a card game. It's like an interactable win condition. Now, you could argue those are kind of always bad, right? But at least a little more interaction. A little more, some weakness I can try to exploit. It's not really super there for a lot of these best characters, yeah? Real quick, I kept getting sidetracked all over the place. I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to talk about what happens if we just remove everything but platinums. Because there's a very valid counter argument to this of like, who the fuck cares about like some gold event that like 30 people went to in Thailand or something? No offense, Thailand. Right? Like, but you could make a very good point that like that should not have the same level of weighting in the stats as Evo, right? So you know what? I'm not gonna go through here and weight it based on the fucking entrance or anything like that. Let's just do a second sort of naive pass and do only platinum events. Okay? We're just gonna do only platinum events and see how that shakes out, right? So Evo obviously is platinum. Combo Breaker is platinum. This is a gold plus. Get out of here, right? CEO gold plus. Get out of here, right? Only the best is a gold. Get the fuck out of here. Evo Japan platinum. You stay. Versus fighting gold plus. Fuck out of here. UFA platinum. You stay. Evo France platinum. You stay. Soup gold plus. Fuck out of here. Battle Coliseum platinum. You stay. B Pro is gold plus forever. Yep. Fuck out of here. Mindset. Fuck out of here. Right? Lagless. Fuck out of here. Nansha, I believe, was, yep, fuck out of here. Gold, outplayed, fuck out of here. Matera and Loane in shambles. Platinum. There you go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 M's in my bank account. 7 platinums. Obviously, Frosty would be our last one here for that last qualification spot, but it hasn't happened yet, believe it or not. So let's take a look, okay? If we like, let's just real quick. This is not going to take very long. We're not going to do any commentary or anything. We're just going to count this up real fast. Okay, we're going to go wins. We're going to go top 8 appearances, right? So, Fairy wins Evo Japan, right? That means that she also shows up once here. Kag shows up once here. Loane shows up once here. I'll count Grim here, sure. Hinoki, I can only count it for Sandalphon before, because I think he mostly played Sandalphon, so I'll just count him there again. Vasaraga shows up twice here. Percy shows up once. And Lance shows up once. Moving on. Right? If we do the same thing again, right here in Combo Breaker, we have Charlotta getting her dub, right? Grim shows up a second time. Charlotta herself shows up a second time. Matera shows up for the first time. I'm not even organizing this. I'm just going to put them all here. Kag is going to show up once more. Seox is going to show up for the first time. Eustace is going to show up for the first time. Bubs as well. And then Voss gets number 3. Moving on, Evo, right? This is obviously Beatrix. Koji won this. So, B gets her... Beat? Yeah, why not B? B gets her first win, right? She also gets her first top 8 appearance here, right? Grim will get another one. Siegfried... Oh, not 1, 3. Siegfried and Percy will both get one more. See, now not organizing this, it actually makes it a pain in the ass to tell if, you know, the organizing maybe made sense. But I think Sieg and Percy, this is the first. Oh, Percy's already up there. There you go. Charlotta 2. Charlotta 1. Oh, wait, no. I see what you mean. I typed 2 in here. I see. I'm a silly guy. Don't talk to me. All right. Anyway. Percy goes in here twice, and Sieg goes in here once. We have Fukunaga on Versuja. He goes in here once. Lance twice, right? Grim shows up for the 4th time. So far, I mean, Grim is mostly only show up in the Platinum events, I think, so that tracks. Matera shows up again here. And Seox and Catalina both get 1 as well. So Cat is going to go down here with 1, and then 2B is here with 1. Okay, halfway there. Moving on. We counted this as a win for Kag, so we'll do the same thing again here, not as a win for Beatrix. So Kag gets her first win. She also gets her 3rd top 8 appearance, where B gets her 2nd. This is where Soares shows up for the first time with skill. B gets another appearance right here alongside Mr. Farido. Percy shows up for the 3rd time here, as well as Vayne for the 1st, is how we counted this, because S1 only played the 1 sort of round of Siegfried. Poulet Robots puts Grim on the board at 5, and Toro gets Percy another point. Catalina shows up for a 2nd time, and Loane is now, so far, only at 2, right? Loane definitely more represented, possibly, outside of these Platinum events, right? So it very well could be that we kind of over-represent him here, right? Grim now gets his first win. So far, in the Platinums, we have 5 different tournaments, 5 different winners, right? This, I do think, is meaningful. I do think the Platinum events are where the competition is the most, it's just the most, right? It's the most strenuous, it's the most competitive. If there is an argument that tournament results directly translate into the state of the balance of the game, the Platinum events should be the clearest example of that, right? So Grim gets his first win here. He also gets his 6th appearance in a Platinum, right? Luane here is now only at 3, though Shio will give him 4. Beatrix here will get 3 off of space. Kag goes to 5. Gamera brings him to 4 here. I will put Anila on here, even though I don't think it matters very much. I do not remember Gamera playing Kag here, so I'm going to continue to ignore it. I did it the first time too, so it's fine. Skill gets Sora's second appearance, and then Eustace shows up for the second time, while Voss gets his 4th appearance, right? All right, Battle Coliseum. Voss gets his first win here. This is, and his only win of a platinum, I believe. So now Voss wins that right there. He also will get his 5th appearance. Siegfried gets his 3rd. Belial shows up for the first time now when you're doing only platinums. So the first time we've seen Belial in one of these. Same thing with Broken Ass Granule, who shows up for the first time here as well. Beatrix, 5. Cagliostro now gets her 6th appearance. Vayne goes 2nd, and Anile? Balanced Ass Wellness gets his 1st appearance, worse than Anila. Took longer to show up. It's confirmed. Anila's pretty good now, I guess. I shouldn't be saying shit like that. And then, finally, Cygames Cup. Vasaraga now. I forgot, actually. With only platinums, Vasaraga becomes our 2-time winner, right? Vasaraga becomes our only 2-time winner at this point, right? This will also net him his 6th top 8 appearance. It'll net Kag her 7th. It'll net Belial his 2nd, and Zoe her 1st. Zoe at 1 there. Toro on Luane brings Luane up to 5. 2B, right? Gets, oh, he was already here once. Yeah, 2B gets her 2nd appearance. Uno will get his 1st. At this point, I'm trying to put them somewhat in appearance order. Grim gets his 7th. And Fairy, where did I put Fairy? She gets her 2nd, right? So now, if we reorganize these by number of appearances, right? First off, number of wins, easy. In Platinum events, Vasaraga is our only multi-time winner. Okay? As far as appearances, Kag has 7, which I believe is the most, alongside with Grim, right? Mr. Grimnir right here. Gets 7 appearances as well. Vasaraga has 6, right? Voss has 6. B and Luane both have 5. And then that's everyone with 5. Percy has 4. And then it's a lot of 1s and 2s, right? And then now Belial has 2. Oh, Siegfried has 3. Hold on, that's the last non-2 and 1, I think. Siegfried has 3. Belial has 2. Fairy has 2. Matera has 2. Seox, Lance, and Eustace all have 2, right? Cat, 2B, Sora's, Vayne all have 2, and everyone else only has 1 top 8 appearance, okay? So, a couple of things change, a couple of things stay the same. And to me, how many appearances does Ilsa have? Yes, 117,000, indeed. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I was locking in there. This guy wanted to get through that in a relatively quick pace, okay? So, what does this tell us? A few things change, a few things stay the same. Grimnir and Cagliostro and Vasaraga and Beatrix and Luane are still all heavily represented in terms of appearances, right? If anything, you could argue, like, if you want the guys who really stand out, Voss, Grim, and Kag here, as well, right? As far as winners now, Voss, Kag, and Grim, right? 1-1, and then Voss has 2, yes? So, there's an Anila at top 8 at Plat events. Gamera played it for 1 round against Luane because he had no idea what he was doing against Luane, I think. But where is Narmaya? Narmaya is not here. So if you look at these 2, right, and compare them side by side, right, this is like factoring in gold pluses and golds and things like that, and this is not. What changes? What stays the same? Voss, both of his wins are Plat events, right? So Vasaraga is still heavily represented here. In fact, almost all of his appearances are in Plat events, right? Like 6 here, 9 here. Luane is, while still he definitely shows up in these top 8s for Plats, the overwhelming representation of him and all of his wins were non-platinum events. Yes? Now, the platinum events, there's only 7 of them, so you have to keep in mind that the sample size is relatively small. But, you know, there maybe is some merit to this idea that, you know, at the very, very, very toppest levels of play, while Luane is still very strong, maybe he's not quite as egregious. Maybe, right? This data could present that argument if you just interpret it without thinking about it too far past just the straight numbers, right? Beatrix is still doing well here, right? She has 1 win. She has 5 appearances, right? 2 of her wins here are in golds, but she's still, she's one of our champions, and she's one of our most represented characters. Yes? So a couple of things changed, a couple of things stayed the same. Honestly, seeing that, especially, I would say B, Voss, Grim, and Kag here, still having a significantly higher amount of appearances than everyone else, right? Most people have 2 to 1 here. They have 5, 6, 7, and 7, and they've also all won something. Stands out to me, certainly, right? Matera and Fairy. Matera has not actually won a Platinum event, right? So, put that in your cock and smoke it, dumbass. Matera has not won a Platinum event, and she only shows up in the top 8 of 2 of them. Now, there is, again, you have to take these things in with a little bit of nuance, where you could say that, like, well, most people just aren't zoner players, right? So, you're not going to see as many, it's just not as popular of an archetype as a character like Beatrix or something. But at the same time, okay, why doesn't that apply to Grim and Voss and Kag? These aren't particularly, popular characters either. Now, maybe you could just say that the players piloting these characters are better. Maybe, I guess. But again, it goes back to the chicken and the egg. Why did those better players pick these characters? Is it just because they fit their playstyle? Were the other ones, if the other ones were so much better, would they not at least try and learn them, put some effort in, do what they could? So I'm not going to tell you how to interpret this. I think that by and large, how I interpret this is the characters that I am pretty aware are strong. I don't usually like using results as, okay, here are tournament results. Here's a tier list made based on that, right? Because I think, as I've kind of been like slipping in this whole time we've been talking about it, I think there are a lot of supplementary factors to be at play here with tournament results, right? It's, what tournaments are you talking about? How big does a tournament have to be before it gets included, right? That can change things heavily, right? How big of a sample size are you looking at? Does it matter? Does it just so happen that, like, the best player in the world or something is playing this character and they're, like, all of the representation or something, right? How much does that matter? If they're the best player in the world, don't they just pick the most broken character? It's not quite as cut and dry as just like, all right, Vasaraga has the most Platinum event wins. Vasaraga is obviously the top 1 character. I don't think it's quite so simple, right? What I do like to use tournament results for is supplementary evidence. Yes, you can just playing the video game, use your eyeballs, play the video, use your eyes, use your brain playing the video game, and you can tell that, like, these characters are really good, right? Grimnir, Kag, Voss, Beatrix, Lowain, right? Lowain, Kag, Beatrix, Voss, Matera, Fairy, Grimnir. It is not surprising. The finals, yes, March something. We'll take a look in a second here, Spider. Once I'm done this little rant. It is not like you don't have to look at tournament results at all. You can just look at the video game, look at your frame meter, look at your health bar when you get hit by them, and you can tell that these characters are very good. It is nice to see that borne out in tournament results, right? It will be, I think, for example, very interesting if a character that was supposed to be very good and, like, really, like, broken good, and was not, like, a really weirdo fucking archetype or very difficult to play or something, if that character just never shows up in tournament, all right, that's like, what's going on there? Maybe this character's overrated, right? But I think the tournament evidence needs to be relatively overwhelming one way or the other to be confirmation or deconfirmation of something, right? Like, if you're like, you know what, man? I don't know, who's like not here? Jita, right? You're like, Jita is the best character in the game. She's broken. This character is broken. I'm like, all right, she literally is not on either of these lists, right? Once. Why is that? Because Jita is a Shoto, right? She's not a particularly weirdo character. If she was good, she'd be relatively, anyone who's, like, really good at Granblue could very easily, they got good fundies, they could pick up a Jita and be very strong with it. So why is Jita never here, right? Yeah, UL, right? A lot of people talk about Gamera says that, where is she? Gamera's not even playing her, right? I mean, Gamera says that, but he's on Meg. he's on Adila before he's on Jita, man. So it's like, UL. Where's UL? I don't think UL is top tier, but some people have mentioned that she's like top 10 or something. I have heard it spoken, right? She's not on this list once, right? So again, to me, it's not a matter of like, this is nice for proof by contradiction, rather, right? Or at least supports implication by contradiction. To me, it's not, Grim has the most top 8 appearances and he's won a tournament, or like Voss has almost the most and he's won the most. This is obviously the best character in the game. No, but again, I think it'd be useful to go as a testing ground for your hypothetical theories, right? Of like, this character seems pretty fucking crazy. How are they performing at the highest level, right? So to me, this is not surprising, right? The characters that I thought were strong are doing well, by and large. We don't really got travel expense, kind of just relying on Gucci to win everything. That's valid. The UL players are broke. That is actually you know what? That, again, there can always be supplementary factors going into tournament performance. Unironically, travel is expensive. It just so happens that nobody with white parents is playing UL, then it makes sense, right? Nobody who grew up thinking that the police were good people is a UL main. Makes sense. UL's not going to show up anywhere, right? UL players are broke. We got evidence. Yeah. Can't afford rent. Yipped too hard. Nobody who grew up like believing in capitalism is a UL main. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, makes sense. They're not going to be anywhere. They're too busy. They're too busy yipping to do any of that shit, right? Wonder if we will see more UL this year, though. She seems much better than before. It's true. UL did only get buffed like halfway through the year or something, right? Or is it in the Meg? Or is it in the wellness patch or the Meg patch? But I don't know why Kag was included for Gamera, but I remember seeing him play Jita at Evo France. I mean, not top 8, but I definitely saw him. I did not count him for that. I think I remember him playing Kag for like one game or something. But anyways. So the characters that are strong. That's not surprising to me. Even in the Platinum events, which are a very small sample size, and we're only going to top 8s, right? And it's incredibly competitive. Even there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, right? That to me is the big story. Even in only 7 Platinum events, where the competition is the most fierce, where the most people are just going to get filtered out if you just brought someone who can't win or something like that, right? And only looking at top 8, we still have something like 60 to 65% of the roster represented at least once in a top 8. That, to me, is amazing news. I know it's been a very long little rant that we've gone on here. We've gone sidetracked, talked about patch history and things like this. But what if I have a takeaway here? We've talked about this. You've seen me do all this. You can come up with whatever the fuck you want as your takeaway. If I have a takeaway here, it's that I think Granblue is a few changes away from being amazing. Like, the game's I love the game right now, but like this game, the overall level, like there's a big like mid pool of characters here, right? Like you have a few characters that are just how do you win with these characters, right? And you have a few characters where you're like, all right, these guys definitely need some toning down, right? But you have like this pool of like 30 characters in the middle that are just awesome, and they can totally win, and they can show up in brackets and do well. They can show up in a top 8 in a Platinum event and do well, right? We're in a really good spot, right? You can argue that maybe we have like 1 or 2 outlier system mechanics that need like minor to moderate nerfs as well, but the game is in a really good spot. We just need side games. Look at me, side games. I'm begging you. Someone wanted the psycho monologue from earlier. Okay, side games. I'm holding the side of your face. Fukuhara, look me in the eyes. Fukuhara, please. We just need a few things. You know, just like Brave counter like doesn't hard knockdown anymore. Like 6XL isn't an anti-air, and then like you nerf like Grim, Fairy, Kag, Matera, like all the characters we saw here, right? Like a little bit. Don't shoot him in the head. Don't shoot him, like nerf. Give him some real weaknesses or something, and then like make Vikala a character, and like that's it. We're done. Like you're done. Like you're actually done. You balanced the game. Congratulations. You're so fucking close, man. That it's just a little frustrating when every patch you just kind of miss a little. You know, you just like. Oh, we nerfed Flame Carpet, but we buffed Percival 4 other ways. We nerfed you Butterfly, but we gave Matera 12,000 damage off her Pharrell. Just stop doing the compensation buffs. I feel like most of the time that I read a nerf that you guys do, it's a good nerf, right? It's a good nerf, but you just then give them some fuck-ass buff alongside it, and then the problem either gets worse or doesn't change at all, okay? Don't nerf Kag, no, please. Side games, don't do it. You sit down. You are an argument for the best fucking character in the game. Okay? If someone, it probably would be Elsa, okay? If Elsa wanted to come in here and hit me over the head with a fucking sledgehammer and say Cagliostro was top 1, what the fuck do I say to argue that? What do I possibly have to argue against that? It wouldn't be my pick, probably, but like, using your fucking eyeballs, looking at your health bar, looking at the frame meters, looking at the results of I have literally there's not a leg to stand on if you want to argue against Cagliostro being top 1. Her matchups into the best characters? Does Kag have a losing matchup? I don't know. right? So what the fuck do you mean don't nerf CAG? Make Lucy start at Blade level 5, Mr. Handsome Streamer, Fairy Woe, real and true. Another CAG, yeah. CAG, I unironically have heard that, I forget who was telling me, someone in the chat was telling me, it was Elsa and one other really strong Cagliostro, who I forget now. But I think they both made a matchup chart, and I think Elsa had CAG with 1 losing matchup, and the other fellow had CAG with 0. The worst the CAG matchup chart from like the 2 better CAGs. I mean, Elsa, like best CAG in the world, are up there. Zangief Dream is obviously also in that contention. Zangief Dream for results is probably the best Cagliostro in the world, right? But like some of the best CAGs in the world, the worst their Cagliostro matchup chart gets is even. Okay? So, I don't know, man. What do you want me to say? But yes, side games. So my takeaway is that the game, I went into this thinking the game was in a pretty good state with like some problematic outliers. I leave this, honestly, even more emboldened. I think the game is in an even better state than I thought to see how well most of the roster is represented, even at the toppest level of play, right? And how well that, like, championship here is split. There's not, like, 1 or 2 characters that are winning everything, even in the Platinum events, even where, I guess here would be actually when you spread it out to not the Platinum events and include a larger sample size of tournaments that could be snuck by, like, 1 really strong guy in a region. Even then, right, the most wins you have is 3 out of 19 tournaments, right? So I think the game's in a great spot. Just don't fuck it up with the Ilsa patch. Listen, how about this? Listen, I'll give you a treat, okay? Fukuhara, you probably don't want to do this actually, but the players will be happy about it, okay? Here's what you do. Minor tweaks in the Ilsa patch, the tweaks we need, right? Some moderate nerfs to some characters. Hard knockdown Brave counter is gone. Some like moderate buffs to the worst characters in the game. And then, as a treat, Season 3, flip the fucking table. Don't even worry about balance, okay? How about that? This is my fucking devil's bargain, okay? Everyone wants another fucking Versuta patch, size patch? Fine, motherfuckers, we can have it, okay? Give me, like, 3 months of, like, perfect Granblue post-Ilsa patch, and then flip the fucking table in Season 3. You want to add a new mechanic that is fucking Wild Assault and broken? Go for it, man. You want to give every character 40 changes and inevitably break the game? That's fine. We can have some freshness at that point. But just give me that slightly tweaked Granblue for, like, 3 months, and my life is yours. Yeah. If you want to add fucking 666L afterwards, right? You hit the dash button twice and you get an unblockable move that like combos into close H on hit. Whatever the fuck you want to do, Fukuhara. If you want to burn the game to the ground after this, you can go, okay? You want to add Ogre Cap to the video game? I'll be happy to see it. But just don't fumble on the Ilsa patch, all right? Don't fumble on the Ilsa patch. That's my hope and my dream for you, okay? 6-6U? It could happen. It could happen. Oh, man. What a time to be alive, huh? What a time to be alive. This is fun. I think actually, this was more enlightening than I expected it to be. So, real quick, for the Arc World Tour itself, going into Frosty, what does the world look like, right? Going into Frosty. So, we already have 7 Platinum event winners, right? We have 7 Platinum event winners. These guys are in the top 16. They're in the Arc World Tour finals. Literally, no matter what happens, unless a bomb hits Cygames HQ, right? Space, Koji, JF, Deba Game, Kasa Usagi, and Zeron. They're all here. They are already qualified. They don't have to worry about anything that happens. They don't have to worry about the LCQ. They don't have to worry about Frosty, anything like that. As far as points, the players with the seven players with the most points also will get a spot. At this point, there is literally 1 Platinum event left, right? The most the points could possibly swing is someone gets 400 points. Is Frosty Platinum or Platinum Plus? Platinum. 200 points. 300 points, right? So, assuming that Saki here is going to be the winner of Frosty Faustings, which would be the worst case scenario for everyone who's in these point standings, right? Zangief Dream and Zane are mathematically guaranteed to be qualified also, right? If Saki gets 300 points, he goes to 569. He would still have fewer points than they do, and Frosty is the only remaining place that you can possibly grab any points, right? So Zane and Zangief Dream are a guaranteed lock, basically. I don't... Saki might win Frosty Faustings, but literally, unless that happens, Chio is also a lock, right? You could expect. So is Skill, basically, right? The only people who could, like, genuinely... Monarch should show up to Frosty and at least do well, so he's probably safe. But, like, Pixie, Fitizen, and Gamera could feasibly be dethroned by, like, if, like, BSG, which he totally could, right? If BSG just, like, rolls up... Well, not Gamera, I guess. It'll be Pixie who'll be the most danger. If BSG just shows up and wins, then Pixie goes, right? But, like, by and large, at this point, What are the 8 duller green ones? Points. The brighter green ones, these are 7 platinum event winners. They just are auto-qualified. The duller green ones are, excluding the platinum event winners, the 7 players with the most points. Right? Yes. So, yeah. Basically, Pixie should really be the only... I mean, I guess the person who gets second gets 150 points? I don't think it's happening realistically, right? Yeah. Like, it would have to exactly be Saki BSG Grand Finals, Saki wins, right? If Saki wins and BSG gets second, then Fitizen and Pixie both get knocked out. Realistically, everyone is locked on points except for Pixie. Pixie, I don't know if they're going to be traveling. I mean, they went all the way to, like, Guangzhou or whatever, right, for the one tournament. Was it Guangzhou or was it the one in Thailand? I can't remember, unfortunately. But if Pixie doesn't travel to Frosty, they are in danger, certainly. Well... Actually, hold on. I forgot. The person who wins auto-qualifies. It's the second place person you gotta worry about. Hold up. I'm dumb. Right? The person who wins, their points don't matter anymore. They auto-qualify. It's the guy in second you gotta worry about. Yeah? So 150 points. Anyone within 150 points of Pixie could kill him if they win. So if Saki shows up and gets second, if they get second, they get second. If Saki or BSG or Ami or Toro or S1 or Vivi or Scav or Kosame or Archangel, not Miri. If any of these guys show up to Frosty and get second, they knock Pixie out. Fitizen should be totally safe, I think. Unless exactly Saki gets third? Oh, that's kind of weird. Wait, if Saki gets third, he gets 65 points? No, he's still behind. Yeah. Fitizen is safe, guaranteed. So Pixie is the only person in danger. Unless I'm doing this math wrong, I believe that, the 14 of your 16 Arc World Tour participants are basically already locked, yeah? You're going to have everyone in these Platinum winners right here. Zangief Dream, Zane, Shio, Skill, Gamera, Monarch, and Fitizen they should all be guaranteed locks for, I mean, I guess unless Pixie gets first, and, like, someone here gets second, I guess. Yeah, Fitizen's not a lock. Okay. Fitizen and Monarch... No, Fitizen's not a lock, yeah. So, Monarch, Gamera, Skill, Shio, Zane, Zangief, Dream, and then everyone else here is locked. There are potentially 2 spots that could still move around here, right? That could go to whoever gets second at Frosty. And then, obviously, you have your... Monarch is getting first, actually. He very well might. That will be the least... I think if Monarch gets first, Fitizen is chill, right? But yes... We then obviously have the LCQ. The LCQ takes place a day before the actual finals, yeah? The LCQ takes place on, like, the finals is the 22nd, I think. Let me double check here. It's right here. The finals is happening on the 20th? Oh, yeah, it happens over... Is this one? The LCQ might be the 20th, and then the finals end on the 22nd. That makes sense, actually. Yeah. But yeah, the LCQ will happen like the day before the bracket starts for the actual finals. So that's still a ways off, right? But yeah, so most things relatively set in stone. I believe these top 13 right here, it's literally impossible for them to go anywhere. Fitizen, if the fucking stars align and the solar flare sends out the one beam to flip the pixel on his Mario 64 to make his speedrun go a little faster, then he could get knocked. Pixie is in genuine danger here, especially if he doesn't show up to Frosty. I think he kind of, I mean, he's been traveling a lot. I don't know what his financial situation is looking like, but I feel like he kind of has to show up to Frosty or he is kind of in danger, in great danger. First place is auto-qualified, yes. So it's only second that could actually knock you out, realistically. Second place, like the guy who gets second is who Pixie has to worry about. 20th of the round robin are divided into 4-man groups. Oh, gotcha. 21st is the LCQ, 22nd is the finals. That makes sense. But yeah, man, Arc World Tour, exciting. Frosty is on February 1st. We are then going to have a relatively big lull until like March 20th when the actual finals start. The good news is that in the meantime, Ilsa will be out and the Ilsa patch will be out on the 10th. Hopefully, it's a meaningful patch. One, because it's just nice, right? It's nice to have things that need changing in the game changed meaningfully instead of them just kind of getting ignored for another few months. But also, that could make things okay. From a viewer perspective, it could make things much more interesting. From a player perspective, I mean, it could be a real pain in the fucking dick, right? Like, imagine, and this is why, again, I don't want them to shoot anyone, right? But, like, imagine you're, like, Shio or something, and Lowain gets hit like hard in the Ilsa patch. What the fuck do? You know, does he have a secondary? So like it can get it can get weird. It can certainly get a little odd. Now there is still going to be a month and a half roughly between Ilsa dropping and the finals. So as long as none of the changes are too monstrous, like individually per character, I think it's probably fine. I think you can do big system changes. Well, big, like again, removing hard knockdown brave counter or something, right? We can have time for people to adjust to that over a month and a half. But like if you just like kill like a solo mains character, it's kind of a dick move. A month and a half out of finals, I feel like you do have to take that into account somewhat. But yeah, man, that was kind of what I want to talk about today. Since, I mean, Dreamland is not happening because Kirby was running the draft yesterday. I wanted to kind of arrange these thoughts in my head for myself because I'm definitely going to be watching Frosty as it happens. Finally, a tournament that isn't happening on fucking JST that I can just watch at a normal goddamn human time. The first is, well, human for me. Okay, listen, I'm North America centric. Okay, I'm Eastern time supremacist. Sunday, yeah, perfect. Sunday is when the top 8 will be happening. We'll be watching this certainly next Sunday, and then it starts the long wait for the finals and the hopefully short and very rewarding wait for Ilsa. Good times. Rantu and Abel got reworked a week before my first tournament. Yep. But yeah, fellas, EST is the only right time. You think we should be saying things like that in these times? Next Saturday is the coaching thing, I think, right? Next Saturday is viewer battles. The Saturday afterwards will be coaching, and the Saturday after that is probably a watch party. That's how we tend to organize it. So if you wanted us to come in and run some sets, I can give you some advice still, but it won't be like a focused 50-minute thing like we do on the coaching Saturdays. But if you want us to come by and run some sets and get some like quick feedback, you can do that. Otherwise, 2 Saturdays from now is what you're looking for there, Mr. Cowabummer. I shall indeed. You can kill my uses again. Oh yeah, right. You were here last Saturday. Yeah. Anyways, fellas. Bit of a shorter stream, but I mean, it's kind of what I want to talk about. So I think that's gonna do it for me. Hope you guys had a good time. I know this is mostly just Yap Fest, but I mean, listen, if you're new here, this is what this shit is a lot of the time. It's just usually this with me playing a video game at the same time. And if you're not new here, you know what the fuck you're here for, okay? You know what the fuck. I don't think I gotta explain any of this anymore at this point. All that being said, I am going to use all this extra free time to build Capricorn Cup Aces, I think. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I'm going to build Capricorn Cup Aces because Sprint CMs are fucked up and I don't like them. With that being said, let's find someone to raid on Twitch, and then we can say bye-bye on the YouTube side as well. Who up? Granblue right now. Was that Joseph Goebbels in my fucking search results? What the hell? Bye-bye, Brick. Goodbye, Peanut. Cal, we could raid. Oh, dude, Cal. He does. It is English and Spanish. Ed Gone Bad, Grinding Matera. Honestly, I don't think I knew that he's streaming. You know what? Why not? But you gotta be nice. All right. Actually, no. Grisk is my captain. My captain. I'm gonna send you guys over to Grisk. We did the team tournament yesterday. Grisk was my captain. I gotta show respect. I have to pay respects. The factory must grow. It's true. So I'll send you guys over to Grisk. Go over there. Give him some love. Give him some support. Give him some hyper pet. The little guys. If you're subbed, tell him how good of a captain he is and how much I fuck with him. And looks like he's playing near, I think. So, as he tends to do. So give him some moral support as well. And goodbye, Brigathon. Goodbye, Chirpa. Goodbye, Pedro. As always, I will see you tomorrow for some Uma Musume. Probably going to be talking about Capricorn Cup in some more detail. Tomorrow, Thursday, will be Uma Musume. Saturday will be sub only. Sunday, we'll be here watching Frosty Faustings. It'll be a great time. Until then, go tell someone you love that you love them. Go hug someone that matters to you. Go, knock on your neighbor's door and introduce yourself. Community is the only thing that will save us in these dark, dark times. So do not abandon your fellow man. We were social animals, and it's what we're made to do. And most importantly, have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. And goodbye to you as well, YouTube. I promise one day you will be on screen. It will happen. It will happen. Soon, even. Maybe. Don't hold me to that. Because I apparently can't keep a commitment to save my fucking life. But goodbye.